It's a positive film. It has heroes and villains, and that it essentially is a fun movie to watch. It's been a long time since people have been able to go to the movies and see a sort of straightforward, wholesome, fun adventure.
Well, it's a fantasy. It's not science fiction so much as it is space fantasy. And it's about people. It's finally about people and not finally about science.
The story, when you actually put it into words, is only so much nonsense to hang a great visual experience onto. It's the stuff that fairy tales are made of.
It's sort of boiling down religion into a very basic concept. The fact that there is some deity or some power or some force that sort of controls our destiny works for good and also works for evil.
Marvellous, healthy innocence. Great pace, wonderful to look at, full of guts, nothing unpleasant. I mean, people go bang bang and people fall over and are dead, but, no horrors. A sort of wonderful freshness about it, kind of like a wonderful fresh air.
It's got whatever you want it to be. It's pure entertainment. It's like a roller coaster ride, and it can be interpreted as long as you enjoy it, which is the intention.
Hello and welcome back to Generation Skywalker for the latest edition of The Modern Way. And joining me tonight is two of the crew. I have got with me Craig Spivey. Good evening, Craig.
Hello, back on The Modern.
Yeah, best to say, I had a look at it today. Me and you both missed 18, where Dan was a star, and you missed 19 as well. So it's been a little while, Craig. When we get to the editions in a minute, I should think you've got loads. I should think you're modern out. We will find out in a minute. And we also have Dan Burgess with us. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening.
You took a little trip to the Royal Albert Hall last weekend?
I did.
Jedi?
I did. It's very good. Very cultured, wasn't it, in the Royal Albert Hall watching Star Wars with a live orchestra.
So I haven't been to them. Do you know what? I've always wanted to with those things. I've always missed the ticket sale or, the date doesn't work. But I saw someone had put a review on one of the social media saying that you can't really hear what they're saying because the music's so dynamic in the hall. So they have subtitles on. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's only parts of the film, I'd say. I think it was only noticeable maybe, a handful of times when the music's really loud. Like, if you could imagine in the middle of, I don't know, the space battle in Endor at the end there where there's loads of noise and TIE fighters firing and then one of the pilots is saying something. Sometimes the music's at a level where you wouldn't necessarily be able to hear them, but most of the time it sounds fine. You forget sometimes the orchestra are even there. There are parts of the film where I'm trying to think of an example, like in Jabba's palace when they first go in and it's kind of like some ambient background music and they're actually playing along to that in the background. And there's a notable difference between if you've watched the film and you've watched the film enough and are familiar with it, you'd notice the difference in the sound. But for the majority of it, they're pretty much in sync with the original soundtrack.
And that's what you're there for anyway, isn't it? You don't go to the Royal Albert Hall to watch Return of the Jedi.
No.
For other reasons.
No, it was a full house. It was pretty good atmosphere. I think that's been on the cards for 3 years, that one. So it was meant to be just before we went into lockdown, I think. Maybe the October 2020. And it's been postponed, back till now. So, yeah.
Right, then. So we'll stick with you for a minute, Dan, because, we recorded last month. Any new additions to your modern collecting? Any new ideas? Any new focuses?
No focuses. I picked up the Dark Times Vader. We took the vintage collection one we spoke about quite a bit last month. Everyone was raving about how great this figure was. It looked great in the photos. Took a trip up to London with my boy in the school holidays and I picked that up from Forbidden Planet. And we actually were up there because we went to the Lego store in Leicester Square because that's just reopened. They've added another floor to it. And Harrison picked up the Inquisitor's shuttle from Obi-Wan, the black ship they fly around in. So he picked that up. So I thought I'd better buy myself something and got that Vader. And then it was my wedding anniversary a couple of weeks ago and I got the Lego Darth Vader head. So there's a bit of a Darth Vader fest going on in my house at the minute.
Ah, congratulations for making it to another year.
3 years now, mate.
Yeah,
3 years. But that's it. I don't think there's anything else I've purchased.
Some nice picks there, and like you say, very Vader heavy. Have you built the ship yet? The Lego ship?
Yeah.
Good
That's
build.
all done. That was done on the day, I think. Yeah, he doesn't need me anymore. He can do it all himself. I have to just sit and watch.
Oh,
We talk about the Vader. We talk about the Vader head or the Inquisitor shuttle.
The Inquisitor shuttle, but
Yeah,
I've
the
got
Vader head.
Nice build, yeah.
His helmet's a bit flappy, isn't it? You can lift the sides up on it and make it look like he's got dog ears.
Do you know what? I've never really paid attention. I built it and I put it up on a shelf. So
there you go.
Okay then, Craig. So if you can keep this under 10 minutes, what have you added?
I'm going to make it sound more impressive than it is. I bought 6 items, which happen to be all 6 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Retro Collection wave of figures, and I do enjoy these. I thought the show was great. I think Hasbro continue to do a good job of nailing that vintage vibe. You'd think that the mix of vinyl capes and soft goods in one wave would wind me up, but I think they do work. I think, a vintage style Vader with a cloth cape is really rather lovely, and a vinyl cape has never looked better on a figure than it does on the Inquisitor. It looks great, but I think what I like most about them is ripping them off the bubbles. It's a little buzz every time to do that and put them on the shelf near the vintage figures, but not, as part of the vintage figures.
Nice. I haven't got around to picking them up yet. I decided that I was going to buy them in hand when I go into a shop, and I haven't seen them around my way yet. So it's
same here, because it's kind of more fun that way. But I kept looking places that they had been cited, but Kimberly works in Birmingham, and I get her to check Forbidden Planet if she's passing that way, and they were all there, so she kind of got them all in one fell swoop, and it was like Christmas when she got home.
Yeah, you won't be getting anything else this year.
Yeah, that'll be it.
I was waiting for the shopping list.
Do you know what? Dave messaged Dave Tree from All the Cool Stuff. He messaged me and he goes, "Oh, your Droids R2 vintage collection, the one with the 50th anniversary logo on it." He said that's come in, and I think I had two other pre-orders came in, both the Bespin Guard vintage collection Bespin Guards, so Helder Spinoza and Isdam Edian. They've now got names, so they both arrived as well. So he sent me them out. But Dave's a terrific salesman. Whenever he gets something, he's going to send out. He goes, "Is there anything else you want?" He shows me what's just come in and whatnot. So in that same parcel, I also got the vintage collection Mix Mayfield, which Dave was really, really positive about on episode 18, which I totally agree. Beautiful figure. Din Djarin in the Morak, so the same outfit as Migs. That is beautiful. The Dave was going, "Oh, I'm going to keep one of these ones. It's nice." That arrived. The card back's beautiful as well, although I will take them off the card back. I also decided to get a vintage collection Lando and Lobot. I keep thinking about trying to get all of the 96, but loose off the vintage collection. But is that just mad when going to have the 96 vintage figures alongside them? I'm not sure. Vintage collection Bo-Katan. Then I've ordered some Black Series. I've got a Mando. Now I've got my Mando shelf. So that's to be set up. Cassian, because I want all the Rogue One crew, and the Cobb Vanth figure, which looks really nice as well. So haven't opened them yet, but I will get around to it. And the Hot Toy Dark Trooper arrived, which I've done an unboxing of it. It is beautiful. It's a really, really great hot toy. The weight of it is incredible because they don't normally have chunks of metal in them, but that one has got some metal in it, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of overpowers the other ones on the shelf. So yeah, highly recommend that as a figure.
It was a great unboxing video as well. I recommend everybody check it out.
Yeah, I've finally got around to filming one. I've got a pile of boxes here. But yeah, that one is on it. And a big thank you to Dave. He sent me, because he knows I love my Ayla Secura, he sent me this little metal figure of her from 2006. A couple of inches tall.
What was that from then?
I don't know. I've got a feeling they could have been on a magazine, but I might be wrong.
Possibly.
But yeah, nice little figure. She's sitting on my computer, actually.
How's the Cantina lineup going? Because that's technically modern, isn't it?
Yeah, so that is modern because it's, well, I'm not going to put vintage figures in that, but I haven't started it yet because I'm trying to clear the space, but I'm getting there on that. Tiki 41 is getting clearer. I want to work out, and I'm going to pick your brain while I do this, Craig, because I want to set up, so in one of those big shelves, I want to do the floor and the walls, but I want to somehow do a button which plays the Cantina music under where the band's going to be, and a button which you can press and the lights can come on. So I've got a bit of planning to do first before I start the setup on it. But as for figures go,
Yeah, here's where you list them all so I can put them in the enhanced.
Yeah, but what we need is a cape, a muftaka.
Yeah, pack it in.
So I haven't gone which one I've got with. I will start to buy them. I think I will maybe start with the barman. So if anyone knows what the best, how many sculptures there have been of Dan, you must know.
One. You're lucky.
Well, there was definitely one in Power of the Force or Power of the Jedi, wasn't there? I'll have a quick look because not like we've got anything else to do. Got my big book here, and there's 2 in here. There is
nearly.
Power of the Force 2 with the Comtech Chip 1, and there's also the one from 2004, so the original trilogy collection. Although he looks like he's absolutely hammered in that. Might go for the Power of the Force 2 one with that. I think I've already got it. So there we go. First figure purchase tonight.
I'm still waiting for you to do your Dr. Ezevan impersonation.
He doesn't like you. Oh, great fun. I did enjoy filming those. I've got a pile of stuff to open for them, but I need I've ordered some little prop bits, so I've got more impressions coming. I've got Leia's buns on the way.
I got up whatever morning you posted that, and I was laying in bed watching it, and Emma said to me, what are you watching? And I showed her. She was like, Jesus Christ. She did think it was funny though. You're off your head, mate.
Oh yeah, nothing like a bit of sellotape sticking the nose back. Right, okay.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here.
What?
Your droids. They'll have to wait outside. We don't want them here.
They're much way out by the speeder. We don't want any trouble.
I heartily agree with you, sir.
Let's go over to some news then. So there's been a little bit of news. Now, first of all, you spoke about it on episode 18 when you had Dave on, and that was about the Hasbro kind of controlling their product. And Dave spoke quite openly about it from a independent retailer's point of view. So I just want to insert what Dave said about it just before we go on.
HasLab and Pulse are actually very bad for the future of collecting, and a lot of people may poo-poo this, but HasLab means that you will never walk into a toy shop and you will never see the big Millennium Falcon on a shelf anymore. You know, those must-have big statement pieces for Christmas. You'll never see that. You know, that is now completely eliminated that. So you won't have the wide distribution of this stuff, which is actually marketing the toys. You know, we're in a position within the Star Wars toy market that you don't have anything new coming in at the lower levels. You've got like the Jedi Force, but there's no kind of cheap version of an action figure. It's Jedi Force and then straight into like $16.99 now, which is not a price point for kids. You know, I can tell you that as someone who sells toys for a living, $16.99 on Lego, you'll get away with. $16.99 on an action figure? No. You know, it's like Pokemon cards. You know, the parent will go, no, you're not having that. So you need something cheaper. You know, you need a sub £10 line to kind of be there. That's not necessarily the preschool perception of like the Galactic Heroes or Jedi Force or whatever you know they change the name to each time. But when you've also then got Pulse in the mix as well, that's bad because all Hasbro are wanting to do is eliminate all the retailers and sell direct to consumer. Now, reason that's bad is two. One is if Hasbro do that, they're actually making money hand over fist because they are having the retailers margin as well as the wholesale margin and selling to the consumer. Obviously, I'm going to say that as a retailer, but where this is like bad as from a consumer level, if you're not seeing what is going on, you are literally just tied to that one channel. And it's not really been discussed, but Hasbro have even been scalping their own product before pack. And that was in the UK. That was like about 45 quid, 46, 7 quid.
Yeah.
And then they upped it to like by a tenner.
They got a load of lashback. There was a load of backlash over that, wasn't there? And they had to drop it back down.
Yeah. All their other figure packs was still the same price. So it's like you are literally scalping your own product that you're already doubling your money on because you're not paying a retailer's margin. And you're really taking advantage of your consumer base there. And you'll start seeing this. You won't get like retailer exclusives. It'll all just tie back into like Pulse and things like that. And it's quite a dangerous sort of scenario to potentially go towards. And it's inevitable. It will ultimately be that in one form or another. But yeah, Hasbro are playing very strategic moves at the moment with HasLab. We're getting you to commit to something, and if it doesn't work, we won't make it. One of the world's biggest toy companies don't need to do that. You should just do it. You've also got like the pre-order of like, we're getting you to commit to something way in advance of it actually being ready.
Even as a Pulse member, the free postage is all you get, and I don't think that's enough of a draw to want to shop exclusively through Hasbro.
For now, there isn't, and that's why, again, beating the drum of the independents. Please support all independents. Doesn't matter where you get it from, as long as you're supporting an independent. That is fundamentally the most important thing. But you'll find that Pulse will have more and more exclusives. So it will be your only outlet. So you will bit by bit become acclimatized to it being your go-to, because every wave that comes out, there'll be a Pulse exclusive. So you end up just like putting all your orders through Pulse one way or another. You're not going to get your Midnight Madness anymore. And that's really tragic.
It is. It's sad.
So what is being done to support that brand? And you might get the odd thing here and there, but if you look at for whose advantage is this, you can see that it's almost like working with a casino. You can see that the house will always win, and you can see that Hasbro in particular are maneuvering things within the toy industry to benefit themselves and potentially protect themselves as well, which may be their sort of like fundamental reasons for doing it.
So there you go. Dave's opinion is that Hasbro Pulse is not a good thing, and it's trying to control the market a little bit. But there's been some more information on this. We've had not information as such, but Dan, perhaps you could take it here, because another one of the independents from the UK put a post up saying that they had these pre-orders coming, but all of a sudden the G.I. Joe stuff is no longer available and only be available on Pulse.
And that's the gist of it, really. So I think both Star Action Figures and In Demand made posts in the last couple of weeks about Hasbro Pulse taking over the G.I. Joe line, no longer available at retail, and you'll only be able to buy those G.I. Joe items or any G.I. Joe items in future through Hasbro Pulse. So yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. Be interesting to see what that means for Star Wars. I don't know whether, because Star Wars is a license and isn't necessarily owned by Hasbro, they might not be able to just switch it off like that. Same goes for, I think, with Transformers, it's a bit more of a populist line. There's always new movies coming out and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see if they did the same with Transformers. But yeah, question marks over whether they could do the same with Star Wars. It's a real shame, isn't it? Because there's a lot of people out there who collect G.I. Joe. We saw with the most recent HasLab, can't remember the name of the vehicle now, unfortunately, it's escaped my mind, but there's obviously a very popular line, probably not as much in the UK as it is in the US, but yeah, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, and yeah, a bit of a red flag of what could potentially happen in the future with other lines.
It's a sad fact that I think all companies would cut out the middlemen if they could, and digital delivery is helping them do this. And I guess in some ways I'm surprised it's taken this long, but it's just another reason to dislike that company, isn't it? And there's lots of other reasons at the minute, and I can see this just turning people off.
I think for me, I did when they first bought out Hasbro Pulse and had the Premier membership or Premium membership. I signed up for it. I think it was, I can't remember how long ago it was now. Was it in lockdown or was it in 21? But either way, I
remember you do it since we started the podcast.
I signed up for a year and you got free postage with that. So essentially, I think even now without the membership, if you order over 50 quid's worth of stuff, you get free postage. But I think if you just placed an order for a vintage collection figure for $16.99, you'd get it delivered free. But even with the free postage, quite often the independent retailers were still cheaper. So I think they're not passing the savings on that, were they? I know that the prices of figures have come up, but it was I felt a little bit ripped off by the whole premium membership on Pulse. There was no benefit to it. I mean, even when I did a sale, you only got 10% more than regular Joe Blogs would get. So there was no real benefits of joining it. And now they're obviously trying to corner the market in their own product. They're only doing. I can only imagine they'd only ever do it with these collectors lines, while there's still Smith's Toys and other retailers selling their stuff. I can't imagine them taking it away from the high street. But like Dave said on the episode, we was talking about Lego, and he was talking about how Lego embraces the independent retailers. They've obviously got their online presence, they've got their own stores, but they don't try and mess with the independents. But this feels like a shot across their bow.
That same day, you had the Dungeons and Dragons figures announced. Now, 3 3/4 inch line of Dungeons and Dragons is, well, you've only got to go onto Facebook or Instagram to see the absolute braze of people wanting them. But at one point, it looked like the Venger and Dungeon Master 2-pack was going to be Pulse only, because they were also going, well, actually, we've been given a date for these three, but this one, maybe not. And then all of a sudden, it did become available. So they're obviously looking at these things all the time. And yeah, it's a dangerous game to play, isn't it? I mean, the only way you stop that is boycotting Pulse, but people won't do that because of the fear of missing out on a figure. And they've got you always around, haven't they? It's like you have it in sport when a football club's being run badly and people are like, oh, well, let's boycott this match. So 50,000 people who normally go to watch Arsenal go to boycott it. There's another 50,000 Arsenal fans who don't normally get a chance to go to a match, take the tickets up. So it does never affects them like it should do. Unless it hits them in the pocket, they'll just carry on. I mean, it's only when I re-listened to episode 18 earlier that actually, when you sit down and actually think about the whole pre-order system, that's nuts for toys. That is nuts that we have to pre-order a £20 toy a year in advance if we want it. It's ridiculous.
That's because they want to know how many to make. I think that's the reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're hedging their bets, but they still release the same ones over and over again. Dark Times Vader, as good a figure as it is, how many Darth Vaders have we got now, and how many other characters from Mandalorian or Obi-Wan or even the sequels that people would buy get overlooked because they want to make a fast buck on another Darth Vader figure. There's arguments either way, right? So people have said for years, and I've kind of thought it was a good idea. They did it with Master Universe for a long time, is to have a subscription-based system where you can get those harder to get figures, and you can almost crowdfund those harder to get figures, and you pay a monthly subscription and you get a new figure every month that probably wouldn't have got released otherwise. But they're making these decisions based on characters just to make as much money as they can, and we're not getting those more obscure characters anymore. If you meet, this Obi-Wan Kenobi series, in a couple of years' time, it'll be forgotten. We'll be on to the next big thing, whatever it is, the Ahsoka series, the new season of Mandalorian, or whatever comes next, then they won't release any more figures for that. I mean, when was the last time there was a Solo figure released, or even a Rogue One figure? It's been nearly a year now since we've had one of those.
Yeah,
it's a funny old game. Another football analogy.
It's a funny old game. Who was that? Jimmy Greaves? I think it might be. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is going to be ongoing, isn't it? We'll see how far it goes, and interesting.
I won't be buying from Hasbro Pulse. I'm not going to buy anything from Hasbro Pulse now. I've not ordered anything from them since February, and this is the nail in the coffin for me. I'm not going to order from them. And if that means I can't get a figure, then I don't get a figure, and I will stand by that. You can all give me a hard time if I ever do, but all of those independents. So back before Hasbro Pulse, back 4 or 5 years ago, when there was San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that you would never have a chance of getting in the UK. For me, In Demand Toys, I discovered them. I was getting I think they had the Han Solo Black Series and Minoc box set. It opened out into like the Falcon in the cave of the space slug. All those kinds of things that you wouldn't have otherwise got. The Boba Fett in the Kenner colours on the Star Wars card back. All those things managed to get through them, which I wouldn't have otherwise got. And they've looked after the collectors for years and years and years. Now Hasbro Pulse have come along and trying to shake them down, and I don't agree with it. So yeah, that's me. Have either of you ever ordered anything from Hasbro Pulse?
No, never.
That's where the Razor Crest came from, wasn't it?
Yeah, but something like I get that.
But that's different. Yeah. So
yeah, I think
what they were doing, that's a completely different thing. And if that was their structure, we're going to release a big item, like you just said, you can get the exclusives through us, which are difficult to get, or like I say, maybe the odd figure. But to withdraw a whole range like G.I. Joe, which is popular, I mean, that is just taking the mick. I mean, I see less round my way. I don't see much Star Wars at all in any shops. I always go and look just in the hope there might be something, but even my Smiths has next to nothing. And it's a real shame.
Do you think they're brave enough to do? I think when you think of the the kind of different tiers of the licenses they've got, the next one up from G.I. Joe for me is Transformers, and they own that license. Do you think they'd ever be brave enough to make that Pulse only, or is it too I don't know what's the right word, too mass media? So if there was a new Optimus Prime movie came out next week, do you think they'd be brave enough to say you can only buy the toys of it through Pulse?
Well, I think things like G.I. Joe is probably a stepping stone to that if the figures are there and the numbers are there and people are ordering from it. Luckily, we're not completists when it comes to Star Wars modern toys. But if you were a completist vintage collection, say you wanted all of them, if Pulse then just took that away, that's the only way you would get them. People will buy it because they don't want to miss those figures. Sadly, that is.
But 2 months ago, we were at London Film and Comic Con opposite Dave's stall. He had crowds of people sometimes around his stall, sometimes literally throwing money at him for those figures. He's out there selling their brand, as well as the others that were there. I'm pretty sure In Demand were there on that event. I'm sure there was others as well, independent, selling Hasbro Star Wars product, and they're just writing all of that off. They're not respecting that those guys are out there, not only selling that stuff from a shop in a brick and mortar store, selling it online and going out on the road with it. It just stinks.
Were they throwing money at him because they were trying to buy his toys? I thought it was because he was dancing around in that red silk thong.
Well, that as well. That was on Saturday night I had.
Yeah, dear. Well, so that leads us actually onto the next point, which I only saw today, but Toys R Us are back in the UK. Not in brick and mortar stores yet, but they're back online. And it's a very soft launch. I had a little browse through their website today, but Toys R Us are back. You can go to toysrus.co.uk and you will find them back online, which is wonderful to see. I've got so many happy memories of Toys R Us. And so I typed in Star Wars into the search bar. Not a lot on there at the moment. There are 62 items available for Star Wars, one of which was Tamagotchi, which we've got coming up later on. But most of it was Lego and Funkos, and then the odd, I think there was a couple of games in there, and then a few Grogu animatronic figures, and the animatronic Lola, and then some lightsabers and a couple of bikes and stuff. So no action figures actually at this point on there at all. And in fact, I don't think any of their product was Hasbro. I don't know whether the animatronic stuff is, but off the top of my head, I don't think any of it.
No, I didn't see any.
I think the Grogu's maybe Hasbro.
But no Black Series or Vintage Collection. Or
no Black Series, no Vintage Collection. Whether that is, because they have said it is a soft launch, so whether that will come in time remains to be seen. But so they've delved back in. But lovely to see Toys R Us back. I mean, they got their business model wrong a long time ago and could never catch up themselves, could they? They were always, for years and years and years, we had rumours that they were going to fold and go into bankruptcy and all this kind of stuff, and they kept treading water. But happy to see them back.
Yeah, sing the theme. I'll wait for you to sing the theme tune.
There's a magical place we'll go while we're there. Yeah, I used to love it. Do you know what? There's a Toys R Us in Chatham near me, and then I'd have to go to like Bluewater and Lakeside to get to the next two. But do you know what? I drive past it now, and it's just got lots of little shops in it now, and I drive past so many of those stores, and some of them have still got the sign up, and you're like, it's really sad to see. And just
there's the one that was round here is literally probably 15-minute walk from my house, and I used to go in. I didn't live here then, but I used to, on my way home from work, I used to drop in there maybe 2 or 3 times a week just to see if anything new had come out, and it was great, especially when right at the start of Black Series. I mean, we've been to stuff, haven't we, Stu?
We did, mate.
Brent Cross.
Very much early in our relationship, actually, wasn't it? We went to the midnight opening for the Force Awakens stuff, didn't we?
Yeah. And I went for I think the following year for Rogue One. It's all at Brent Cross, and the launch of Black Series, that was 2013 or 2014. So the worldwide launch of Black Series was at the Brent Cross Toys R Us. All of the figures came with a first day of release sticker on it. You got a nice little pin badge. Jeremy Bullock was there signing free autographs. You could put a donation into charities and stuff, but he was signing proof card backs. I think I have still got mine actually from him. They've got a great legacy for all that kind of fan engagement, back midnight openings and all that stuff. And since they've left, we haven't really had anything. Everything's been online.
I just love it. You used to walk in there and you said, like, especially when it was like a new film and you had the massive display as you went in the front door.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. I mean, I've got a lovely photo for the enhanced, Craig, of Dan stuck in a little plastic house outside Brent Cross. Yeah.
Oh, when it got us Krispy Kreme donuts, didn't I? I was sitting outside eating Krispy Kremes in the queue.
That was brilliantly lack of product that night, wasn't there? I mean, we had they gave raffle tickets out, and we had tickets number 5 and number 6. And by the time we got in, there was no Black Series left, was there?
No, I think there was one set for the whole. Yeah. There was like 90 people in the queue. Oh dear! I think I got like a Kylo Ren and a Captain Phasma. I think, these are going to be the big characters. I suppose Kylo Ren was, but yeah, not so much Captain Phasma. But yeah, that was exciting. It was good.
It's nice to see it back. I mean, it was a big part of my life. I used to go there a lot. like through the years as well. I mean, I googled it earlier. It launched in 1985 in the UK, and I was sort of a student at the back end of the 80s and the 90s in Coventry, so that was our big one. It was a bit of a schlep out. But me and my housemate, we were just into pop culture, and we'd go, on trips there just to see what was what and discuss the items and just look at the hits and misses, not too dissimilar to what we're doing tonight. And obviously this was kind of pre Power of the Force 2. I was already collecting vintage, going to toy fairs and things, so I rarely bought anything, the occasional maybe star character from a new movie or whatever, but he was collecting Star Trek The Playmates figures at the time, so we would go and get those. But we just go there as a sort of destination just to look at stuff and hang out and look at Turtles figures and Aliens figures and go, what the hell's this supposed to be, and Crash Test Dummies and all the rest of it. And then when Power of the Force 2 came out, it just changed the game. I was there like at least once a week making sure that I'd got everything and I not missed anything. And then, like you say, when the prequels hit, those giant displays on that facing wall as you went in, it was just a wonder world of Star Wars. And it's really weird to just have the conversation we've just had about the dwindling physical products on shelves and think back to those days. And it's not that long ago, but I think we've lost. We lost something quite cool then. And they never maximised on the space they had. They could have made it a lot more interactive. I mean, when I'd go there with the kids, they'd be raising hell on the bikes and the pedal vehicles in the middle aisles while I'd be looking at action figures like a terrible parent. But it was always something we'd make a detour for. And just go out and hang out at Toys R Us. So it's just to me all misty-eyed.
Even as an adult, I mean, if I was driving past it, I used to pop to Blue Water and say, I'm just gonna run in there, just see what's in there. And that's even like we used to go and visit my wife's dad up near Middlesbrough. Just pop into Stockton and just see if there's anything Star Warsy in there. It's just taken away because it's such a sad thing. It was real magical. I can remember being a kid. You say 85, which would sit about right me. But I used to get like for my birthdays just ask for money, and then my parents would drive me to Toys R Us and I'd just go and blow a lot on something, walk around with a little trolley and just spend my birthday money. Just love it. I still want to go up there and spend my birthday money. But,
well, you can just scroll through this very tidy, smart-looking website.
I get my birthday money now. Now I have to sit online and order something which I'll get in a couple of years' time. That's
I tell you what, I did see. It was just quite interesting on the homepage. They've got this thing called the Demo Zone, which the sort of official unboxings and things, which is something they should have done more of, Hamley's style, I think, when they had the chance to. But I thought it was quite an interesting addition to their homepage. I mean, it's only like the third sort of banner down, so they're obviously pushing that little bit more interactivity, and be interesting to see where this site goes.
I think they could, open up, because all of their stores were pretty much replicas of one another, weren't they? You'd walk in and you turn right and you kind of go through there's normally a little barricade there, and you go in and you're into it then, aren't you? And then there's normally all the new stuff at the front, and have the Star Wars display at the back, and then you get into different sections of the shop. But they could just open one up, Central London, a big Toys R Us, the nostalgia for it. People would just visit it, wouldn't they? Because there aren't anymore. Be like opening a Blockbuster Video. That's got a bit. There's a Blockbuster Video somewhere, isn't there? That's still open that people just go to just to act that experience. I think there could be something in that. There's still an audience for it, but not probably having however many hundreds of stores they had previously.
It didn't disappear completely around the world, did it? Did it stay open in Canada?
Canada,
yeah. Whether we'll ever see a store back or whether this is now just an online entity remains to be seen. But
all those exclusives now you see, so out in the States especially, we've been quite lucky that we've got the independents that we've got. Just going back to them quickly, but before that, Toys R Us, they had all the exclusive, didn't they? They'd have the Greedo and Han Solo 2-pack Black Series when they're both sitting at the table. That was a cool one that they had at the end, and that's just one. They had loads, but now they're giving them to Walmarts and Targets, basically supermarkets. And all I ever hear when I listen to any other podcasts or read online American websites, they're all complaining about their Walmart or Target exclusive orders being cancelled and then scrambling around trying to get the figures on eBay. So someone like Toys R Us, I don't think they were letting down people the way that some of these big box supermarkets are out in the States.
So. I used to love dropping that episode 1 gold card on the cashiers till like a real player.
I bet they were well impressed. Some 18-year-old schoolgirl who's working on a Saturday morning. Look at him with his gold card.
Well, we'll keep an eye on Toys R Us, and we'll see if that product grows and whether we do see some of those action figure lines returning to that site as well. But lovely to have it back. Just lovely to see the logo. Right then, boys. So also since we last recorded, D23 took place. With regards to product, there wasn't a great deal of announcements there, but what we did see was, well, nothing new, not new shows particularly announced, was it? We saw just snippets of what we knew was coming. There was the actual Lucasfilm presentation had some interesting stuff though, boys. So Tales of the Jedi. Craig, what did we learn about Tales of the Jedi? We did get a release date for this, didn't we?
We did get a release date. So this is another Filoni-helmed animated series that looks at 3 short stories, Ahsoka, and 3 short stories about Dooku. And apparently that's all going to air at once on Disney Plus on October the 26th.
So not too long at all, actually. That's Andor's still going at that point, isn't it? So actually not long to wait for that, actually.
No.
Be interesting.
I used to love the Tales of the Jedi comic, was brilliant. I hope if it's successful, they go down that route and start telling some of those kind of stories.
The animation looked good as well, didn't it? It was a nice
Clone Wars kind of style, isn't it?
Yeah, which is nice to see as well. So we do have that to look forward to. The Bad Batch was given a release date, 4th of January. So start the new year off with a bang. Season 2 of The Bad Batch. The Skeleton Crew, they brought the cast out, Dan. A bit of an interesting vibe. I've read in play. Someone said that this is the Stranger Things of Star Wars.
That's what I read too. There's not a lot of detail out there. Have any of the cast been announced other than Jude Law? All I've read is that Jude Law was announced.
I thought they brought a couple out. Let me check IMDb while you talk about Jude Law and his.
Well, there might be some stuff on IMDb, but I think it's just Jude Law. It's set in the same time frame as The Mandalorian, so I think it's kind of done as a bit of a spin-off as that. It's a bunch of kind of ragtag crew, kids that have been stranded in space and have taken up, but there's not a lot of detail other than that. It's really, they're keeping it really under their hats.
Yeah, there's only 2 announcements for cast and crew on IMDb: Jude Law and Mickey Cassidy.
Yeah, the guy who wrote it is the guy that done the Spider-Man movies, the most recent ones. So he's got a bit of cred there. So they've got quite a big hitter in there. He's directing it, writing it, or producing it. I don't know if he's writing it. He's directing and producing it. And you've got executive producing it with Dave Filoni, John Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy. So all the big names are in there.
Okay, and also this bloke that's been announced, Mickey Cassidy, is Jude Law's stunt double.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's been on the ground. There's one publicity shot of Jude Law, and that's about it. There's a few other, you can make out a few other characters in the background, but yeah, no names against the actors playing them, I don't think.
No, interesting. But it's actually wrapped, isn't it, for the actual filming of it? So I
think it's going to be out next year, some point next in 2023.
Yeah, definitely. And then also we've got Mando Series 3, where we saw officially the trailer at long last. I bet there was a bit leaked from Celebration, wasn't there? Was it Celebration where that dodgy footage was released from?
Yeah, it was good to see. And nice to watch the whole thing.
And
it looks good.
And Ahsoka as well. Neither of them have got an official release date, although there is rumours that Mando will follow straight off of Ahsoka. IMDb does actually state that Ahsoka is starting on the 12th of March, but I don't know how true that is because other sources are saying it is unknown. So springtime for those, I think. So lots and lots and lots of Star Wars to be getting excited about in the upcoming months, and lots more toy lines. I mean, Jez will be delighted that
he's got to go and buy a skeleton crew figure. He's going to have to go and buy. He's going to have to go and buy another Mandalorian. They do Tales of the Jedi figures.
He'll be all in that. And obviously, we did see some indie news and Willow news. If that is your thing, but we're Star Wars.
Warwick Davis hard, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking him out.
He had to take 6 months off Tenable.
I love a bit of Tenable.
So do I.
Yeah, we might have to play that one day as Star Wars version. Oh yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, ideas. Just going to write something down. Tenable. Right, okay. And the last thing I wanted to discuss in here, which I sent you boys a post which I saw on one of the Facebook groups, and I never thought about this. So I open my Black Series figures up. I like them. I'm going to have them just dotted around my room. I think they're fantastic. I think some of them are brilliant. But Jim Stroinski, it was on the Black Series Facebook page, takes the art edge off of the box, laminates it, and makes bookmarks. And he's taken them into schools and given them to other places. I thought it was a great idea. So I hooked back out Walrus Man and Dr. Everson. and have cut the edge out. I think that's a great idea. So I thought that was, not wasting your packaging. Like I say, I'm chucking my packaging away now rather than just boxing it and just having it overflowing. If I come to sell them, I sell them loose. Did you boys like the looks of those things? I forgot to put the link in the show notes. I don't know if you've actually seen them.
I have to. I remember seeing the photo. My only question is, how many bookmarks do you need?
Well, that's why he's been giving them away.
Yeah, well, I think you could take that idea, because I think the art is really nice, isn't it? I mean, I put all the plastic in recycling, and then I flatten the boxes and I shove all the flat boxes under the stairs, thinking, I'll keep hold of them for some reason. But you could take that bookmark idea and buy some of those little transparent bases, you get for board games and tabletop gaming. So just little kind of clear acrylic bases with a little kind of slot in them. And you could stand them next to your figures if you wanted to make a little display.
Yeah, interesting.
I like that. That's a good one.
Although the shape of them, they might look like they're all stood in front of like a pull-up banner at their local small business networking event.
I like that.
You'd have to try it and see. But yeah, you could sort of see that working.
But you could probably, say if you put them in order, you could probably have the picture behind them, the whole, the display you're meant to have if you keep them with the edges out.
Yeah.
But
any other ideas for packaging? I did say to you, is there anything else you can come up with now? Let's be creative with them. I know you text me down and went, I don't know whether it's a bit silly to say out loud on the show, but you were talking about using the plastic mould that the figures come in for making jelly in. So you can have jelly, Bays Malbus and stuff. But
be like those jellies you had when I think they used to be Ghostbusters ones, didn't they? They're nice, those.
Yeah.
All the different coloured ones.
Yeah.
Big ones are those.
Well, there you go. So bookmarks, check it out. I mean, Jim Storinsky. Yeah, you're thinking outside the box there.
There's a magical place, we're on our way there, with toys in the millions all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. Soon after bedtime, when dark nighttime falls, Jeffrey and Helper stock up all the shelves. From ceiling to floor, books, board games and bikes, tennis, puppets and dolls, and spaceships and trikes. There's millions, says Jeffrey, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us, Toys R Us, Toys R Us.
Right. Now on to announcements. So we are recording this show before the Hasbro PulseCon announcement. So we will do a pickup after that has been on the 1st of October, and that will follow the announcements. But these are the announcements that are already out before that event. So going to take it through with you boys. Not a lot. There is bits and pieces. No vintage collection at this point since our last show. But Dan, one piece of Lego, which was actually announced today, another UCS set.
Yes, so it's the UCS Razor Crest. So this is a giant size Razor Crest. So they released the Razor Crest a couple of years ago now. This one is obviously a lot bigger and a lot more expensive than the one that came out before. I think the one that came out originally was about £120. This one is £520, released on the 7th of October. If you're a Lego VIP, you can get it on the 3rd of October. So 4 or 5 days earlier than everyone else. And yeah, this is a good looking ship actually. If I didn't have the Razor Crest, the HasLab version, I'd be looking at this. So it measures over 72 centimeters in length, so that's about 28 inches long. It comes with a bunch of characters with it. So you've got a I can't remember their names. What's the thing that Mando rides along around in on the first episode?
Blurg.
The Blurg. So there's a Blurg and a Mando, a baby Yoda, and who's the little blue chap? I'm terrible with these names.
Mythol.
Mithril, yeah, and Quill. I remembered his name.
Dan, can I just jump in on you there? Because this is the one thing. I mean, you just saying it comes with a whole host of figures.
Yeah.
This is a £520 set. Now, I have 2 UCS sets. I have the Cantina, which I know Craig has got, and I've got the Death Star as well, and I've also got the Millennium Falcon. I actually think, compared to the other UCS sets, that is a really low amount of figures. There was about 15, 16 in the Cantina. Let me just have a quick look at the size of the Falcon. The Falcon has got a good 10, 12 figures, and the Death Star has got a good 15 figures. So actually, I think they could have done a bit more with figures.
Okay, you're the expert. I haven't got any of these big. I've not shelled out for anything this big. So yeah, it's got 6,187 pieces. So in terms of the detail, easy access detailed interior, removable engines and cockpit, 2 side hatches and cargo compartment with space for Blurg, a weapons cabinet and Lego minifigure size carbon freezing chamber. It's got a detachable skate pod. It's a big Razor Crest with lots of pieces. I can't justify getting this myself, but I think it looks really nice.
It does. You're all right. Yeah. And the Quill figure, in fairness to him, the Quill has got the best face on him, hasn't he? On that Lego figure. It's brilliant. Looks just like Jez.
Yeah, I've never thought to buy one of these UCS sets. I've heard, what you and Mark were talking about, that all of you, I think, were talking about that Cantina set last year. I've heard people raving about the Falcon, but I've never, pulled the trigger on a £500 Lego set. I think if I had done, it would have been that Star Destroyer.
Yeah, nice piece. That was big, though. I saw.
But that's the problem. It's too big.
That's why I haven't built the Falcon yet. I've had that over a year, but until I've got a spot where I can put it while I'm building it, because I was talking to Ben Coomber, who's built it. Yeah. He said, when you start building it, you don't want to keep moving it.
But I started building the Death Star now, after it's sitting behind a bar for 2 years.
Brilliant, though, isn't it, the Death Star? I really enjoyed building the Death Star.
I'm loving it. It's just like loads of little sets in one, because you build kind of a room at the time, or room at a time. And the last one I've done was because it mixes the movies. So you've got New Hope scenes. We've also got Return of the Jedi scenes. And I've just done the Emperor's Throne Room. Such a lovely little kind of vignette within the wider piece. It's a lot of fun. But I'm with you on this one, Stu. I don't see where the money is. It's way less impressive for that figure, as in money figure, not minifig.
I was going to say, looking at the photos, the interiors, you've got hardly any space in there to move once you've built it. In terms of interactive areas to pose figures and do stuff with, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of room to do anything. Have you looked at any of the photographs of the interiors?
At the moment, they're it is tight in there. You're right. I mean, because the Falcon opens completely up. I really do feel they've stinted on the fit. I mean, a lot of people buy Lego sets for the minifigures. You often see sets for sale, especially on eBay, with the sets are unbuilt, but the minifigures are gone. And I just feel it's just lacking a little bit in there. I mean, even the Death Star. I've got the Death Star to the side of me, and I'm hoping, Craig, once you finish doing yours, because if you remember, I stacked all my vintage Mint on cards on a shelf, and it collapsed, and it took off a chunk of my Death Star. So the back corner is missing. At the moment, I've got to rebuild it. I still haven't got around to doing it, but this has got all your main characters. This set, it's got your Luke with the grappling hook about to swing, but it's also got him in his stormtrooper disguise, and it's got him with a lightsaber, and it's got lots of little Imperials. I know they weren't on the Razor Crest, but nor was the Blurg. They could have put a few more on this. They could have had,
couldn't they?
Yeah, they could have had even people like what's her name? The one that dates the Jawa, that fixes him up.
Pelly, is it?
Yeah, people like that could have been easily put in this set, So
they could have done a bit of, docking bay scenery,
Even the speeder in the first episode,
yeah,
when they're trying to get back to the Razor Crest and the creature comes out of the ground and takes the speeder, but they could have had that speeder and that character driving that. Yeah, I do think it's it's 520 quid. I mean, the Falcon was 650. What was the Cantina? 500? 400? I don't know. I can't remember.
You've taken the shine off this. I quite like this when I started looking at it.
It's a nice thing, but that's 520 quid there, and
yeah.
I just think I think for that money,
they've done better, haven't they?
Bit more. Well, we've had the AT-AT recently, haven't we? Which was a little bit more than this, which I would rather have had than this. Yeah, I think they could have done a little bit more.
Is that because you've got the HasLab one, though? I know it's not Lego.
Yeah, but my HasLab's still actually in the shipper. I haven't even got it out of the shipper yet, so it's not like I've opened that and I'm in love with it, because I haven't actually seen it yet. So no, I don't know. It looks nice. It looks nice built. I'm sure it looks stunning on display. But I just think it's got a little bit missing there. I think it needed more, and I think they might have missed the boat. I mean, he's not got this anymore. Is it going to be fresh in people's minds? HasLab did get that out at the right time, didn't they? Because I think it closed just before it got blown up.
It closed the day after it blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, which was really funny, wasn't it?
I still think he's going to get another one. Season 4.
Okay.
Return of the Razor Crest.
Brilliant. Okay, then. So moving on. So there has been a few Black Series announcements since we last recorded. Craig,
we've got a few to run through. Not very many, but the first one, Ralph McQuarrie concept Obi-Wan and Darth Vader 2-pack. So Ralph McQuarrie concepts have been pretty well mined by the 3 3/4 line over the years. And now they're getting the Black Series treatment, and this is an exclusive for Shop Disney, I believe. But before you get too excited, it's a repainted Empire Strikes Back Vader body and a repainted New Hope Ben Kenobi body with new head sculpts. So they've done a fair job of it. A video on it earlier where they sort of went through the concept book of the costumes and where they picked up some of the paint details and transferred them over. So, they put a bit of work into it. I think what I find interesting is that, when they did the 3 3/4 inch figures back around the 30th anniversary, they used the actual McQuarrie art on the packaging. But here they've had to obviously redo it into the Black Series style. Now I know that there was a comic from about 2013, I think, that adapted the original screenplay. And that's the only other example I can think of where Ralph McQuarrie's art hasn't been drawn by Ralph McQuarrie. So looking at that, it just feels a little bit weird to me. I don't know what anyone else thinks, to sort of see it once removed from its source.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, just a bit strange. But if you fancy one of these, it's exclusive to Shop Disney. Certainly in the US, according to yakface.com, but hopefully that will extend to Europe too.
I'm sure we'll see them all over the place. These exclusives always start off exclusive, don't they?
I'm sure.
Be an entertainer by Christmas.
So the other one that's been released or teased or showcased is the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary Admiral Akbar. Now this is a rework of the recent Black Series Akbar with a different head sculpt. It's got a closed mouth rather than an open mouth. It comes on a vintage style card for the 40th anniversary of Jedi, so we'll be seeing lots more of that, which is fair enough. But it's got this vintage paint app, which has the unintended consequence of just making it look unfinished. I don't know what you guys think, but obviously, the more up-to-date sculpt, has got a lot of detail on his belt, and he's got his little rank insignia or his whatever the thing is on his chest, and they've just left that because obviously the vintage figure didn't have it. So it just feels a little bit kind of undercooked.
Yeah, I see that. I bought the Black Series Akbar that was in the actual Jedi packaging, but yeah, I can see what you mean about him.
It's lovely that Black Series Akbar. It's really well done, but this one, it looks like they've got the solid plastic head like the vintage figure, just all one colour.
Yeah.
There's no kind of detailing of his fishy crustacean nature. It's just sort of flat. And yeah, I looked at it and I thought, is this a prototype? It took me a minute to work out what they were going for.
It's a prime example of them just repainting something they've already done so they can just get another item out, isn't it? They haven't got to do something new.
But it's odd that they've done that because they don't normally vintageify, is that a word? The Black Series figures on these sort of releases. So on the Empire ones, I don't remember them doing this and taking all the. I know they released some like that. They did the Zuckers and Forlorn. They obviously did the Fett, but yeah, this is a new thing. If this is down the path they're going, taking the paint apps away and just giving them real basic vintage style painting for all of these.
Yeah,
it all looks a bit. It's not. Yeah, it's just it does look a bit of an odd card pack, doesn't it? I'm not sure about that Empire, the Jedi 40th logo either. It's a bit stands out a bit much than you'd want. Looks a bit off as well as the figure.
I love it.
It's a trap.
Oh, we're full of impersonations tonight. I reckon, Craig, the next two, you could do an impression of one of these two.
Jesus, right, okay. Roger. You know what's coming? But do you know what? I'm sure we've reviewed these before, and if you're telling me that we haven't, I guess that sort of tells its own story. They just feel like, it's another repainted battle droid sold under the Gaming Greats banner, and a stormtrooper with a new bit of kit, a big rocket launcher. So, these aren't for me, but I'm sure gamers love them, to put them around their little gaming dens with their bean bags and stuff, whatever they have in their gaming dens. So there's clearly a market for them. Again, they're clearly something that Hasbro can trot out without too much work. So I'm sure we've not seen the last of some droids and stormtroopers that have appeared in games with different paint apps. So I'm going to
new boxes. In the new boxes, aren't they?
They are in the new boxes, which I think we mentioned in the last show. So these are the new windowless boxes, and I guess a couple of weeks into it, we've probably got slightly clearer images than, because I think the ones we had before kind of leaked, weren't they? So any thoughts on those?
They're quite nice. I mean, I don't go into the Gaming Greats figures because I don't play the games particularly, so I don't really know the characters. But I mean, I quite like the colouring on the side of the box. Look quite nice. I was looking at these. Unless you've got these face on, which a lot of people haven't got the space, I don't think it really matters these are windowless.
No.
The side images are all still going to line up. If you want to look at it, buy two and get one out.
Spend 50 quid a figure just so you can look at one and keep one in the box.
Okay, carry on, Craig.
I'm sure as collectors we'll all get over it. Okay, where are we? So the other one we've got is a 3-pack, which is the Mandalorian, Grogu, and Ahsoka. And I'm going to assume that the Mando is another repack. Ahsoka certainly is, but this time she gets a soft goods cloak. But it's the Grogu I find quite interesting. So he's sitting down, which looks fine when he's on a surface, but sort of weirdly like a statue, and is shown being carried, which he is on a couple of these promotional shots. I don't know whether you guys can sort of see that, because obviously he's sort of, the fabric of his cloak kind of just wafts to the floor, but obviously when he's being carried around by Ahsoka and Mando, it's just got this hard edge to it.
It's like it's on a stand, doesn't it?
Yeah. But, if you've not already bought Mando and Ahsoka and Grogu, this is a good opportunity to buy them all at once. And the final ones we've got here are the Andor figures, or the sort of certainly some Andor figures that have been revealed, which personally I find a strange mix. So we've got Cassian in an Imperial disguise. We've got a repack Shore Trooper. And there are 2 Imperials. Now, these are exclusive to US stores. So the Shore Trooper and an Imperial officer from Ferrix is exclusive to Target, and the other Imperial officer is exclusive to Walmart along with Cassian. So that's how they're going to be trickled out. But what I find kind of strange about these is that they're giving 3 out of the 4 figures generic names. So we've got this Imperial officer Ferrix, Imperial Officer Dark Times, and obviously the Shore Trooper, which I find really strange given that we're 3 episodes in and it's clearly a very character-based show, and these guys are sure to have names. So I don't really understand why. We've got sort of this guy with a mustache who looks very distinct. He doesn't look like a generic army builder.
I think he's in the trailers, isn't he? He must be in it quite bit significant enough to be if he's in the trailers, and they've made an action figure of him.
Yeah, so why he's just called Imperial Officer, I don't know. Maybe, well, I mean, the shots that I'm looking at here, they look like finished product.
It's going to be a spoiler, and it's going to be like Han Solo's dad or something.
I think there's quite a few more images now of these, isn't there, from what we've got here? But yeah. I
mean, given in the first 2 episodes we've got some real key characters that are kind of interesting. They're clearly going to go places. To kind of trot these out early doors seems a little bit strange, but maybe there's method in their madness. I certainly predict that there's going to be lots of kit-bashed bits of Imperial tunics and helmets and things all mishmashed, because it looks like it's going to be that kind of show. So I think we're going to see lots of background Imperials being made by Hasbro.
What do you think about Cassian's face? Now, he's at Old Harney mission, so that's obviously something that's coming up. We haven't seen this yet.
Yeah.
And he's got a cap on, but his face, to me, if you gave me that action figure without me knowing who it was, I would struggle to say that's Cassian. I really don't see it.
No, the shot I've got's not the best. But I can see what you're saying. They should be able to get their main character right. There's kind of no excuses for it, really.
In the Ferrix Imperial officer, he looks like Alden Ehrenreich from Solo.
Yeah, it is a spoiler.
Yeah.
So yeah, odd choice, I thought, but I'm sure we'll see plenty of more figures from the show as it rolls out over the next couple of years.
Indeed. So that is our Black Series until the Hasbro Pulse. I mean, we might get an absolute influx. They will be at the end of this section, but for the time being, that is all we have had at the moment. Now, Dan, let's come back over to you. Something we won't get an influx of at Hasbro Pulse, but Hot Toys, not a lot this time, but there has been a few.
Yeah, so there's a couple. There's 4 altogether. The first one is a Stormtrooper, a chromed version. I think this was maybe one of the ones they showed at or around the time of San Diego Comic-Con. I think we covered the Death Trooper last month, but there was this Stormtrooper as well. So essentially, it's a Stormtrooper who's been chromed out. It looks a bit like Captain Phasma from a chroming point of view, but it's their old Stormtrooper design chromed. That's over on Sideshow for $240. Comes with a blaster and the small pistol we sometimes see the Stormtroopers photographed with. I don't think we've ever seen one shoot those little guns in live action. They've always need to be normally in publicity stills. Yeah, there's not a lot more to it than that, really. We can go into the detail of what it comes with: various sets of hands, a utility belt, blaster rifle, blaster pistol, and that's pretty much it. So I think we spoke a lot over the last few months about Royal Selendor, but when you talk about a bit of bling, I think I'd rather have this on a shelf somewhere than something like that. So for 240 quid, if you haven't got a Stormtrooper in your collection, and this could be the one if you want a bit of a standout piece, but doesn't really fit in with the rest of mine because I try and go with screen accuracy rather than the bling of this.
I don't dislike it, but I don't £231.53 like it.
No.
It's a nice piece, but yeah, it's not.
They've done various versions of this Stormtrooper over the years. Hot Toys. So you've had, obviously, we saw the chromed version of the Death Trooper as well, and there's been various special editions that they've done. I think they did one with like a Mexican skulls and stuff. They've taken this Stormtrooper design and played around with it before, but they tend to be more exclusive. So I think this was originally some kind of exclusive that they've now got on general release, much like the Black Fett that they had last month as well. Wasn't something you could generally just go on and order from a retailer. It's more of a special edition release that you could get from Hong Kong. But for some reason, Sideshow have managed to get their hands on this, and they're flogging it as well.
I guess everybody else does it, so they must think, well, why shan't we? But
yeah, I suppose it's the Hasbro model of chroming and carbonizing figures and reselling them. So next up, then we've got the next one out the gates was the Reaver. So that was announced, I think, a day or two after we last recorded. So that's the Reaver from Obi-Wan. I think it's a really good likeness. This, I think, I think for me personally, I think I said before, I'd want to try and get one character from each of these series, because otherwise you just end up buying everything, and I can't get my head around doing it. I haven't got the space and I haven't got the money. So if I had to pick one figure from Obi-Wan, it would probably be Obi-Wan, not Reaver. But the figure itself is really nice, very good likeness of Moses Ingram. It's got comes with double-ended lightsaber, various hands. She's got a cape she wears. I think towards the end of this, maybe in the last episode, which she's going after Luke, she's got a heavy cape with a hood that she puts up. Comes with a normal cape and a costume for the show. There's not a lot more to the figure than that, so you can head on over to Sideshow. That one's on there for £250. I think that works out as that one, just working out with the exchange rate as it is now. So yeah, we're creeping up to dollar to pound, starting to get very close to one another. But yeah, £250 at the minute. That one is on Sideshow. Any thoughts on that one before I move on from it?
I really like it. Yeah,
you're gonna get it
at the moment. What? Yeah, yeah. Definitely.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't ordered it yet, but yeah, I think this sculpt's amazing. I think the face on it's brilliant.
I should admire it from afar.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Comes in one flavour. There's no deluxe or anything like that, so it is that one standard release. I suppose it's one that if they utilise that character again, she's obviously becoming a redeemed character and potentially becoming a Jedi again, or some sort of light side Force user, then she might show up again and people might fall over themselves to get that, because they won't be able to buy it anymore. Could gain popularity in the future. So the next one, we had another Inquisitor. So the next one announced was the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, I love it.
You like this one, do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you was being sarcastic.
No,
all of it, didn't you? So again, there is no, as I understand, there's no deluxe version of this. It's a standard one. It's is it Rupert Friend, the actor that plays him? So yeah, it's again, it wasn't really a likeness of him, more of all the makeup and prosthetics that he was wearing. But yeah, it looks like the Inquisitor from the show. He's got the lightsaber, he's got the costume. I think his chest plates light up. He's got a hologram puck of Darth Vader and various sets of fists. Not a lot more to it than that, but he looks pretty cool. His uniform, he's got the soft goods trousers, leather boots, his chest plate, lightsaber that attaches to his back. Bound to appear again in a future show, bound to get released again, he says.
I mean, whether you like, I mean, there was a lot of people saying, it doesn't look like the Inquisitor that was in Rebels. They never do from the live action. But as a figure goes, for nailing what was on screen in Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's bang on. It is. They do such a great job, and these two with Obi-Wan and Vader, Dan, I mean, that's an amazing shelf in your collection.
And they've got a shot there, haven't they, in the promo shots of Reaver and the Inquisitor following Vader. It's just great.
Yeah, it does look good.
I thought we might get the kind of the sneak peek of the eighth brother in one of these shots, but they've got to do that one as well. If they're going to do these two, they've got to do the full house maybe and bring that one out.
I'll be all over that as well, to be fair.
So that one is £249 over on the Good, the Bad and the Robots. So if you want to head over there, you can stick a deposit down on that before it sells out, and you can buy one from our friend Lee Ward. So any more thoughts on Inquisitors before we go on to the last one?
They're making me very inquisitive about ordering.
So the last up, and this one was only announced yesterday, so just the Cobb Vanth figure. So this is from his appearance in it was the first episode of the second series of The Mandalorian. So this is Cobb Vanth with all of his reclaimed Boba Fett armor. So fresh from the Sarlacc pit. It's all nicely distressed. Looks like they've literally taken the parts that they made for the actual Boba Fett with that armor and stuck them on a Cobb Vanth figure. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't think this particularly looks like the actor that played him. I don't think it's a great facial likeness, that one.
Is this like we spoke about Kenobi last month? Is this a early?
Yeah. Well, they all are going to be, aren't they? It just looks. I don't look at that and think that looks like the guy from the show. I didn't have that stronger feeling about the Ewan McGregor for the Obi-Wan, but this one I'm not thinking it looks other than when he's got his helmet on. The actual face, I'm not buying it. That's I can't remember the name of the actor that plays him.
Timothy Olyphant.
There you go. Well done.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't have that same. When I first saw that Reva figure, I thought, Jesus, that's just her shrunk down. This doesn't give me that at all. It's not bad.
It's got prototype written in big letters across the bottom of the photos, but not for me, this one.
No, not me. I'm just I've already got that armor on a Boba Fett figure. I don't need to buy it again.
I think he's a fascinating character. We've seen him in Book of Boba Fett, we've seen him in Mando, and he's still alive. He was in the back to tank at the end of Fett, so we're going to see him again. I know he's very, very popular with literature fans. Perhaps, like you just said, with the Inquisitor and Reva, perhaps a bit more screen time, and you'll be like, oh, I wish I got my cob on.
Yeah, so four new Hot Toys this month. Nothing that I'm getting too excited about or pre-ordering. I imagine when we catch up next time, we'll have lots of Andor figures to talk about, I imagine.
Yes. Okay. Right. So that is it for our main toy lines that we discuss. But as always, we like a little miscellaneous section. We can't put everything in here. There's so much Star Wars stuff comes out, but we do like to pull out certain bits and pieces. And as always, we do have that again. So we're going to alternate between the two of you here. And we're coming to you first, Craig. Now, I'm sure there is official photos of these now, but Star Wars Stretch Armstrongs. Who doesn't want one of these in their stocking on Christmas morning?
Well, this is something new, isn't it? Unless you count the Jar Jar sticky tongue toy of the prequel era. But yeah, we had Bendhams in the 90s, and these are effectively Stretchums. And from what I found out, they're made by Character Toys, who are based in the UK, in Oldham. Most famous for their Doctor Who action figures. And they've already released the series of small 7-inch figures based on Stretch Armstrong, the popular toy of the 1970s. So it's sort of that's their headline brand, is this sort of stretch term. And they've got these for DC Heroes, Jurassic Park, there's a Scooby-Doo, and they've also got a similar line, very similar looking line called Heroes of Goo-Jitsu, which look to be very rubbery, stretchy figures, very akin to these.
They're squidgy. Harrison's got a couple of them. I think he's got a Venom one.
They're squidgy, but maybe not so stretchy as the stretchy things.
Yeah.
Oh, my son's got the Venom one. Is this the same people?
Yes.
Right.
But irrespective of that, the first wave of Star Wars characters are about to hit our shelves. So there's a Vader, a Stormtrooper, a Fett, and a C-3PO.
Love them. Do you know what? If you're coming to Farthest From, especially on the Saturday when it's something, I'm going to have one of these. I'm going to be playing with it all day. Just going to have it out and just playing with it. Squidging it and stretching it. Come and watch me.
I did think I saw you put these in here and I was like, Stretch bloody Armstrong. And I've just had a look at them now and I might have to get one. I can sit in my office and when you're annoying me when we're recording, I can stretch it and torture it.
Craig doesn't annoy you that much, does he?
So I've seen these in supermarkets. I've seen the Jurassic Park dinosaur. So I think they're probably under a tenner, aren't they? They don't look like they're going to be a particularly high price point toy.
I like the card backs though. They're very vintage inspired. Got the racetracks, haven't they?
Yeah, liking it. So watch this space. Unboxing from Dan. Dan, then over to you. Tamagotchi Grogu. Now I know there is already an R2 out. I've seen it in the shops, but Tamagotchi getting in on the Star Wars action.
So who knows what Tamagotchi means? Obviously, it's a Japanese word. What's the translation?
Is it something to do with pet?
Nope. Craig, do you know?
I don't know, actually.
It's an egg watch.
Ha!
So that's the translation. It's egg watch. So these were a big thing back in the late 90s. I think 96, 97. They were like toy of the year in the UK. Kids went nuts for them. Mums and dads couldn't get for Christmas. I think probably around that time, maybe a little bit later, my mum bought me an R2-D2 one. There was an R2-D2 one back in the day that she bought me as a stocking fit. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm 20 years old. Slung it in a drawer, never played with it. And history repeats itself because it was on Harrison's birthday a couple of weeks ago. My mum bought him the new Tamagotchi R2-D2. And again, he looked at it and went, what the hell's this? Left it on the stairs. It's still there beeping and whistling away, waiting to be fed. So I think these are for the nostalgia trip for the people that were, of an age in 1996, 97. And they've now jumped on that bandwagon with the what was nostalgic for these people, and they brought out a Grogu version now as to follow up the R2 one. The kids now, I don't know about your daughter, but Harrison's got his iPad, he's got his iPhone, he's got his iWatch, and you can download Tamagotchi apps on your phone and play them. And a physical thing with a digital LED screen, it ain't rocking them.
No, my little girl's only 5 though, but the little Grogu head. I mean, she comes out into Tiki. Yeah. She wanders around. She thinks anything Yoda is Grogu. I mean, literally, she can't see the age difference between them. So, but she loves them. She still carries around that cuddly toy I bought last year. So I think I enjoy this.
So here's the little description of it. It's depending on how you nurture Grogu, he will change into one of 12 different appearances, including 3 secret ones. Feed Grogu macaroon and squid chowder, but not too much, or the squid will jump on him. There are 2 mini games available at any time to play, or additional mini games which alternate depending on how you interact with him, with 10 playable outcomes. So yeah, it's the general Tamagotchi kind of design where you've got to feed it, you've got to pet it, and you've got to, I think, what's the other thing is forgetting what you do with them now. I did play one for a while. So you have to feed them. Oh,
so you have to clean their poo up.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the one I was forgetting. Yeah, I always thought that when they died, that was it. The machine, it was broken and you threw it away. But apparently you can reset them. That'd have been more interesting, wouldn't it? But all the kids off to school come home and their Tamagotchis are dead.
It happened to me. I was trusted with my youngest sons, and that because he wasn't able to do something on a certain day, and I had to take it into work with me, and I got stuck in a big long meeting, and I got out and it dead. Had to go home and tell him. So yeah, it causes much stress. I don't see how these things can exist post Pokemon Go. Do you know what I mean? It feels very, very clunky.
Someone obviously thinks so.
Well,
it sounds like Stuart's going to buy one for his daughter for Christmas.
I'm thinking about buying myself one actually now. I know that can't feed him too much chowder. Right, okay then. So on to you, Craig. Now, you might have seen the little cans of fizzy pops in the shops, but this is in those lines by Funko. Final Soda.
Yeah, so Funko's vinyl soda range are collectible figures that come in a can with a pop-off lid, and they've been around for a couple of years. They're not blind boxed as such. You know what figure you're buying, but there's a mix of chase variants to make it interesting. And I think I'm right in saying that these new 3-litre range are kind of new this year. They're certainly kind of quite recent, and they're probably double the size. So, you know, these are collectible final figures. They've got that sort of designer toy feel, and I quite like this. This is a Wampa, and I think he looks pretty cool. It's not a pop. It's not the square head, wide set, big black eyes thing when you think of Funko. It's a lot more. I think it's got a lot more character than that.
Yeah.
And I think, so before we started recording this show and Stu was putting the show notes together, he said he'd made a purchase. I think this is what he's ordered because it feels very similar to his Ewoks that he bought.
Interesting.
I've got the Boba Fett one. Look at your camera. I've got the Boba Fett one, not the big ones, but I've got a little one.
Okay.
Oh, they were on sale in Smith's the other day and I picked one up. I've got the Boba Fett. Oh.
I've seen them in Smith's. There's a big range of them, isn't there, across a lot of different lines?
Yeah,
huge.
So yeah, there's the Fett. They're pretty cool actually, but I didn't get the chase one. You get a little coin with it to tell you what you won. But yeah, I just got the standard one. And
so the chase Wampa, I believe, he's had his arm cut off, isn't it?
Right, that's cool.
So yeah, but yeah. No, but Craig, nice guess. I did send these two. We didn't mention that to start. I did say to these two that I've actually ordered 2 things off this list, but this wasn't it, Craig. But good guess. I would be tempted. It's
an educated guess based on your Ewoks Kotobukiya thing.
Yeah, that's still in a box ready for an unboxing. I've only had that for a few months. Might do that this week. Yeah, then I might not. Okay, right. So a bit of fun there if people want to get involved in that. Quite a nice line for stocking fillers as well. Dan, back to you then. So we've got some more jumbo figures. You've got one each here, boys. You first, Dan. What we got?
Yes, I think we did the last one of these. We did was episode before last, and they did the Luke X-wing pilot with a removable helmet. For some reason, they've done it's the vintage Luke figure with a removable helmet, which I was trying to persuade Jez to buy, but he weren't buying. I said he needed it for his X-wing Focus. But yeah, now they've gone back to the well. They've taken the Stormtrooper and they have put a pauldron on it, and they're selling that as a Stormtrooper. I don't know if you got it as a Sandtrooper. Sorry, I don't know if you guys have seen the photo. Do you think the helmet looks very much like the removable helmet from the Luke in Stormtrooper disguised from the vintage line.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like the. And I when I was flicking through the photos, I thought it's got to have a removable helmet, but no, it doesn't. But yeah, I don't know why they keep doing these. I'm not a fan of these. I know they did. Was it the Tarkin? That wasn't great. They've done this Luke, and now they've done this.
They must sell, mustn't they? They must sell.
I don't know anyone who's buying them. I don't see anyone posting online this stuff.
No. But they keep churning it out. You wouldn't just keep churning it out, would you? Surely.
But you've got the Return of the Jedi 40th coming up. People who've been collecting the jumbo figures. There's so many of the Jedi figures they haven't released that they'd want. They keep going back to these. So yeah, it's I don't know who'd buy this. If you're a Stormtrooper Focus collector, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. 12-inch, giant size, vintage style Sound Trooper.
Okay, and what's the other one then? What's the other jumbo figure, Craig?
So the other one is a Book of Boba Fett. And I'm with you, Dan, and I wonder whether it's a licensing thing, whether they've kind of, they're trying to keep the jumbo line going and they're not allowed to do the original vintage stuff because that was the point of it, really. So I don't get it either. I think what was cute about them originally was that they were digitally scanned and scaled, versions of the vintage Kenner line, and that was brilliant. It was a great concept, well executed. Hasbro are currently making 3 3/4 inch retro figures to match the Kenner line. These bear no relation. This is a completely different sculpt to the retro collection 3 3/4 inch Kenner Book of Boba Fett era Boba Fett. So for $80, nah.
Okay, that's a big thumbs down from these two. So let's press on then. Regal Robot, always releasing some interesting bits. Dan, a couple of pieces.
Yeah, and each at the different ends of the cost scale as well, but very, very nice nonetheless. They're releasing a life-sized Tusken Raider prop replica bust, a signature edition. So they've taken actual scans of from the Lucasfilm archives of the original mask and costume artifacts, and 3D scanned it all, and it looks brilliant. So just reading through some of the information on. So using the technology, the cast polyurethane resin mouth area of our bust captures every fold and wrinkle of the original. Hand paint and staining creates the look of real leather. The same scan followed us to create the original prop mask metal parts in CNC machined aluminium for each bust. So heavily hand-dried, heavily distressed fabrics adorn the head and chest sections, real leather bandoliers and resin neck breather. So this is, I believe, £2,500 or $2,500.
$2,999.
Oof, have you bought this? Is this the one? Have you gone for this?
Oh, mate, I wish I could. I've always had a thing about the Tusken, and it looks amazing, doesn't it? I mean, in your collection, it would be amazing.
I'm going to say this now before we get to the show. This is the standout item. If I had to pick one thing this month, this is it. So this is due out Q1 of 2023. So not even that far away. Yeah, it looks awesome. I think I'm just looking where it says. So it's limited to 150 pieces, 1-to-1 scale. And I did read somewhere that it had been signed by one of the stuntmen that played a Tusken Raider as well. So yeah, payment plan available from $299. There you go, Stu. Treat yourself.
Yeah, I wish I could, but that one's a bit beyond me. It is beautiful though, isn't it?
It is awesome.
It doesn't get better than their stuff. The fact that they've had access to the original and they've put that kind of artisan levels of craft into it. There's a reason there isn't a Black Series version of a Tusken helmet that you can buy for a couple $100 and run around the garden in. Such an intricate piece, and to know that they've scanned it and every fold is accurate to the screen used thing is just incredible.
Yeah. So sorry, I found it now. So it includes hand numbered metal plaques signed by original performer Alan Fernandez.
Yeah, I wouldn't be fussed about that. Just give me bust. I don't want some random signing.
Go and track him down at a convention and get him to give you an autograph for £20.
Yeah.
So if $3,000 is a little bit out of your price range, maybe you'd treat yourself to one of these. Is a Darth Vader battle damage magnet. So this is it's brilliant. $30. $30. So this is it says the new magnet is inspired by the epic climactic battle between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader in the hit Lucasfilm series Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is a metal magnet with it's the Vader bust with Vader's face opened up to see the Anakin underneath. It looks really good. So if you can't afford a hot toy with Anakin's face popping out of it, maybe you can put down $30 for one of these. I think we should all buy one of these. Should we do a group buy and see if we can get them shipped over? Craig, you in for one of these?
I think I would be. It's it's a nice thing. And it's another good thing about Regal Robot is they kind of they know that not everybody's going to be able to afford a Lucasfilm scanned version of a Tusken Raider, but they make stuff like this for people as well. So I think they're a good company.
We should do a show looking at some of their stuff, because some of their stuff's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just scrolled to the bottom. Have you seen the Cantina-inspired upholstered seating? £1,500 a seat, but they just look amazing. And their stuff is just, I do enjoy their stuff. Whenever it's in our show notes, it's always a pleasure to look at.
Totally.
Do they only ship in the States?
Yeah, do you know what? I've tried to buy the desk tidy. 3 or 4 times I've had it in my shopping trolley, and I get all the way through to the shipping, and it's like, no, I won't ship to the UK. You know, the one with the space slug coming out. And I was thinking, it'd be lovely on my desk, put my drawing pins in there because I don't use them. So, we need to find a way. Regal Robot, you need to find a way to ship to the UK. Okay then, Craig, so I'm going to come over to you. Gentle Giant mini busts, and there has been a few since last show.
There's been a few. I'll try and rattle through them quite quickly. We're all familiar with this range and what the little mini busts are. So the first one is a mini bust of a very stern-looking senatorial Padme from the Clone Wars, which is nice. I quite like this. I quite like the muted colours and the detail in her outfit. I think it's a nice piece. You saying you like this, Stu?
Yeah, I think it's quite a nice bust. Yeah, I like the colourings. I think you're right. I think it's definitely stands out quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would buy, but if you grew up watching the Clone Wars and you're now in your first proper job, this is a nice, classy looking thing you could splash out $80 on for your first apartment. So other than the magnet that we've just looked at and the action figures, there hasn't been a huge amount of merchandise from the Obi-Wan series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Gentle Giant have produced this bust of Kenobi, and I think it's okay. It's not a bad likeness. Some of the pictures are better than the others, but $130 for this one, so it's considerably more than the one we've just looked at. But yeah, are we liking this?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
That was kind of my view. And then we've got a Grand Inquisitor from the same show, and again, this one left me a bit cold. It said white poodle to me, so when white poodles get those tear stains under their eyes, they're a bit smudgy. It's got that kind of vibe.
Yeah, one of the shots, I'm just looking at one of the photos now, the face just looks off. There's one where it's kind of quite close to his face. And he's the nose doesn't look quite right on it.
Yeah, it's just, it's okay. It's okay. So a lukewarm reception all round. The next one is from the Gentle Giant Legends in 3D series. So these are slightly more premium. I mean, they retail at $200, and this is the range that the oft talked about Luke X-Wing that Jez has on order comes from. So they're head and shoulder busts rather than sort of torsos, and they all come with a conceptual base to support the figure. Now, I think this is supposed to be a wrist gauntlet. I don't know what you going along with that? The base?
I think so. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I can't see it being anything else.
I think that's what that is. And this is great. There's no human likeness to get wrong. There's great weathering on the helmet and the armor, and I think it's got a bit of sassy attitude. I think they've managed to sculpt in a little bit of a cocksuredness into this. I quite like this as a piece. We good on that?
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
And the final one, as a companion to Obi-Wan, which I mentioned earlier, is a Vader bust. And again, just feels a little bit off. The face is off, the helmet's off. The pose is a little bit weird. Yeah, not sure about this either. So a selection of busts of varying prices, of varying quality. If you're a bust collector.
Not for me this month. My pick of those 5 is definitely the Padme. Yeah, interesting. So let's carry on with Gentle Giant, though. Dan, back to you. Let's go to some statues.
1/7 scale Darth Vader, so it's about 11 inches tall, again from Kenobi. My guess would be it's from as he's battle with first encounter with Obi-Wan and drags him into the fire. So you've got Darth Vader standing with his lightsaber to one side with his hand out reach like he's force choking, and some flames. It doesn't say in the description whether they're light up or not, but my guess would be that they are. Maybe they're not, but there's like a flame effect like what you get with a hot toy with one of the Boba Fett with flames coming out. So kind of the plastic orange coloured flames on the base, and Vader figure. I think any Vader that comes out from that Obi-Wan series needs to have that cracked mask with Anakin's face poking out. I don't see the the point of this. It's just another Vader figure for me.
Looks like he's jumping in a puddle.
Or jumping into flames.
I think it's sculpted quite well, but I look at it and at $200, I think for $200 you're talking hot toy territory, and I'd rather the hot toy with the cracked helmet. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, $200 for that, like you say. I think it's limited to how many pieces? It 3,000 edition size, $200, comes out Q1 of 2023, allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, if their release dates are right, they're quite on the ball, aren't they? Not getting stuff out too quickly.
Well, Jez is still waiting for his. Although it's been dispatched now, he was waiting nearly 6 months for that Luke Skywalker. But yeah, regardless, I wouldn't be buying it anyways.
Okay, Craig, another. I think this one's Craig, isn't it? Another statue, Craig?
Yes. So when I first saw this, I thought, it's one of those really impressive, massive things that you see in glass cabinets at Celebration. There's a lot going on. This is Bastilla Shan, and it's a sort of moment in time where she's battling a droid. And as I say, there's a lot going on. She's leaping from a droid that she's clearly slashed with a lightsaber. The droid sort of collapsed, and she's jettisoning herself off, presumably to fight more droids. And I looked at this, I thought, wow, there's a lot to break on there, isn't there? But when I got into it, it's actually a much smaller PVC piece. So it's only 10 inches, retailing at $80. It's not going to be one of these massive things. And yeah, it's quite nice. It's for fans of Knights of the Old Republic who have connected with this character. But it's very dynamic and looks to be quite well painted and put together. I don't imagine this is going to float your boats.
I love it.
Oh, did you play Knights of the Old Republic?
No, just like the figure. It's probably not something I'll add, but yeah, there's something about it. The bend in her lightsaber does my head in every time I look at that first image, though. It's bent. I mean, get it straight for the photo.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's PVC, you see, so it's going to be quite rubbery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you pre-ordered this one?
No.
Did you pre-order the Padme bust?
No.
Well, we're running out of options here.
Okay, then. So let's go back to you then, Dan. A bit of Koto Bakia stuff on the list this month.
Yeah, they seem to be a lot less prevalent than they used to be. I remember seeing this stuff everywhere. But yeah, this is a Japanese line. I think it's licensed in the US by Artifacts. This is one of the Artifacts Bad Batch figures. So this one measures, I'm just looking for how high it is actually. So it's 11 inches tall. So same sort of scale as that Vader statue we just spoke about. So about 11 inches high, 10 to 11 inches high. And these are kind of, I think, to get out of the statue licensee shenanigans of who's got what license, they release these as model kits. So generally they come in 4 or 5 pieces. They pop together. I can't really define them as model kits. The arms normally slot in and the head slots on. They come on a nice base. This one looks quite good. Got 2 interchangeable heads. So it comes with both the mast head and with his face showing. Yeah, so you got Echo with his little backpack on, his guns. It's a nice figure if you're into Bad Batch.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so Craig, SH Figure Arts have been at it as well. Another line that's quite like this. This is all right.
I mean, these are usually pretty good. I mean, this is a book of Boba Fett. Comes with, I think, a couple of heads. It's not clear whether it's a retool or a repaint, but it's a throne room version. Comes with a new throne. You can have him sat on his little throne with his little Rancor heads on his armrest. So if you're still into the book of Boba Fett and your head hasn't been swizzled by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, then this is quite a nice piece.
They do use nice stuff, don't they? The SH Figure Arts.
They always look good at the shows, don't they? They always got them in the cabinets, and when you see them, they're just It's Japanese, isn't it? They do that small detail that like no one else does.
And again, I think the reason we don't get them is that licensing. So Hasbro kind of have the market cornered on 6 scale figure or 6 inch scale figures. I think these are 7 inch scale generally, but yeah, we don't tend to get them. I think you have to pay a little bit more to get them imported into the UK.
The throne's nice, isn't it? They've done a good job of that.
Do you know how much that is?
$94. It's not bad, is it?
Not with the throne, no. It's nice.
Yeah, no, nice piece. Well, boys, that is generally it at this point. But there has been a couple of holiday items. Now we've got both Halloween and Christmas. It wouldn't be the same without a bit of a mix-up. So what have we got? Dan, we've got some Halloween Droid Factory stuff, haven't we?
You did this on purpose, didn't you?
You love it.
So yes, our friends at Shop Disney have released a set of 4 Halloween droids, various colours and designs to represent Halloween. We've got R2 Boo, R3 Boo 17, R4 Boo 18, and R4 Boo 19. So they've each got their own Halloween-inspired design. You've got R2 Boo, which is a black droid with orange, green, and purple details and a back wing topper. R3 Boo 17 is a glow-in-the-dark green droid. R4 Boo 18 is a candy corn coloured droid. And R5 Boo 19 is a black droid with a skeleton suit design and back wing topper. What else do you want me to say about these? Is this what you've pre-ordered?
Yeah.
Have you really?
No. Have you ever said boo so many times in one sentence?
Boo.
I tell you what, the R2 one with the green and purple and that is quite a looking droid.
No.
With the bat on the top.
Yeah,
it's my pick of the four, that one. Yeah.
There you go. For $40, mate, they could be yours. They're still in. Oh, they're sold out. They're sold out. They're gone. That's it. Game over. They've gone.
Yeah,
can you believe they've sold out? Jesus.
Yeah, I can. I think because we're going to go on in a minute, and I think we need to sometimes get off our high horse and enjoy things for what they are. I mean, Halloween's a big thing in America, and they want to set their decorations up. They decorate their houses like we decorate them for Christmas. They want a couple of little like fun Star Wars figures out. Get them out for a couple of weeks a year. That's what they're there for, Dan. Don't
listen. In the UK, we get a bag of fun-sized Mars bars, some Haribo if they're lucky, and maybe a pumpkin. We don't need these droids.
Well,
humbug to Halloween.
To be fair, I wouldn't buy them. They're not for me. But Halloween's not really my thing. But Christmas is. I love Christmas.
I love Christmas.
I get so excited. I mean, it's September. I've been humming tunes for the last 3 weeks. Bit of Cliff, mistletoe and wine's been on the old tongue. It's always good. So, first of all, Craig, a Funko Pop Christmas set. And these are great, aren't they, Dan?
So we've got 6. I'm not going to sit here and pour scorn on these.
You should.
Well, I get it. No, I'm going to give a considered appraisal of the concept and the execution. So here goes. So these are all based on the idea that somebody's made a snowman that's sort of in the style of a Funko Pop, which on paper sounds great because they've got big black coal eyes already, haven't they? So you can sort of see how that thinking got picked up and developed. So in the range, so Darth Vader, and he sets the scene for all of these. So they are kind of, you imagine a Funko Pop but slightly rough, like they've been made out of snow, and that's the body. And then they've been decorated with twigs and bits of coal and carrots. So Vader's got some of the detail of his mask picked out in twigs. He's got a carrot for a nose. He's got a little cape. He's got twiggy arms. The Stormtrooper, slightly less deco on him. He's got twiggy eyebrows, which is a bit weird, but a nice little carrot grill of his face. We've got a Boba Fett, and he's got like carrot eyebrows, which looks a bit strange. Yoda, which has got big carrots for ears.
Brilliant, that one, isn't it?
The little smiley mouth. We've got R2-D2, who's probably one of the more intricate, lots of tiny little sticks and carrots sort of making out his detail. And then we've got the absolutely terrifying C-3PO, which it's all kind of Slenderman weirdness going on with that. So I get the concept. I get that they're things that you would bring out as part of your Christmas decorations. I think it's a lovely idea. My opinion aesthetically is I think they've just overworked it a little bit. I think if they'd have reined back on some of these details and made them more like the snowmen that we make, with eyes and a nose and a mouth and maybe a scarf and some twiggy arms, I think they'd have been a lot more successful and a lot classier looking. I think they've just gone a little bit over the top, some of the tiny little details. And I don't know what you guys think, but that's my review of these items.
Do you like these, Dan?
I like the Vader. If I had to pick one, I'd pick the Vader. And you're right, you could probably get away with putting one of those out as a Christmas decoration.
Exactly, Daniel. Exactly. I haven't ordered any of these, but if I was to see one of them in a shop, like the Vader or the Yoda, I possibly could put that in my Christmas display. Oh, I like them. Yeah, definitely a bit of fun.
I think that's really important, Stuart, because these feel much more in the spirit of Christmas than,
what we're about to talk about.
Repainting an action figure.
Oh, Christ.
That's a killing machine. So you've got these Imperial troops who are just, the enforcers of the Empire and are quite evil, whereas these have quite a Christmassy spirit. I think Funko as a brand really suits this. I mean, I think the for all its detail. I think if you took the twigs off the top of the R2, I think the R2 is the most successful. I quite like him because he's the most snowman shaped. I think Yoda is the least successful. I don't think those ears work. He looks like a gremlin.
Interesting. And so the final bit in this little holiday season section now is these Black Series figures. Now I will tell you, I have got, if you remember rightly, I bought one last year, and I bought the Snow Trooper, which had been painted green, and his face scarf was red and white, and his helmet was red, and he just looked Christmassy. And I thought I'd buy one to review. And I can remember slagging these off, but I can then remember having it out at Christmas. And since then, I found it this week. This is why I've got it empty. I've got it in my hand. It's a lot of fun. For 3 weeks a year, this is going to get out. Now, Dan, they have released another 3 of these. Hit me with what they've got coming before we all give these the love they deserve.
So there's a C-3PO. He's got red and white paint applications, and he's got a nice little green scarf on, and looks like he's meant to be wearing white and green stockings. You've got a Mandalorian warrior. It looks like he's got a Christmas jumper on his chest plate. So he's got a Mandalorian symbol on, and made to look like a Christmas jumper. Again, lots of reds and greens. And you've got a Scout Trooper who's got a little Christmas sack with a baby Grogu on, and a little Grogu jumper as well. It looks like he's wearing on his chest armor. But lots of reds and greens on him as well. So I don't even know, why has the Mandalorian he's still got his blaster holsters on his legs? That's not very Christmassy, is it? And he's walking around with a gun.
Because they're still at work. They're just
Jeez, I tell you what, it is not. I tell you the lengths they've gone to with the packaging on these is pretty impressive. To be fair, they've done a whole new set of packaging for these. So if you have got a Black Series collection and you are bored of black boxes, you might want to invest in some of these.
Well, and Craig, you don't like these at all.
I just, I think I would view a lot of this stuff very differently if I still had small kids in the house. So I'm kind of looking at these as an adult collector going, yeah, I get it, it's not for me. But, if these lived in a box, like you say, and they went up in the loft yearly and came down, they'd become part of your family traditions, and you'd set up a little fun kind of scene on the mantelpiece. I do get it. I do get it.
So, I will have a little Christmas area in my Intiki out here this Christmas. Because I've got a few of the Hallmark things now, and
that's what you need. The Hallmark stuff, the Hallmark decorations.
It's not though, because there's no Christmas on there. I've got several behind me right now. There's nothing Christmas. They are just things of Star Wars. So I'm going to hang them in a tree. They'll probably break the branches because they're so heavy. These you could just have a little display. I've ordered 2 of these. Which one do you think I've not ordered?
The C-3PO.
Yeah, it's bloody awful. I'm with you.
They've achieved the impossible there, haven't they? Made C-3PO even more camp.
But the other 2, first of all, the Mando. I love his Christmas jumper, and he's got a little, whatever that thing is with him, a little snowy. But that's not my favourite one. The Biker Scout's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's got a little Grogu in his basket, and he's got a little Grogu Christmas jumper on. If that was a proper Christmas jumper, we'd all be wearing them. Oh, do you know what? They're going to be brilliant when they turn up, and I'll have this little display, and he'll all sit there one night. We'll be recording a podcast. They'll be in the background in a lovely Christmas display with a little Christmas tree, and my one from last year, and probably the Vader Funko if I can find it. Probably a couple of other bits, and you'll be like, I wish I had ordered that, but I can't say that now.
I bet you that fet in years to come will be worth an absolute fortune, or Mandalorian Warrior. That one is the one to get, I reckon, if you want to flip it in a few years' time.
I don't want to flip it. It's part of my Christmas.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, just going to love them. Just going to love them. And I've got a couple of the little Grogus from last year. One having his little Coco in his pyjamas. Do you remember them? Those little statues? My Christmas display is going to be... But do you know what? If they released a Hot Toy Christmas Star Wars character, I'd buy it. Because it's the greatest time of year. And I'm just so... Okay. We'll leave that there. And once my Christmas display is up, we'll put a post on Facebook, and you can vote whether I was right or these miserable sods were right. Okay?
Yeah, I don't think I was. I kind of play into it.
Yes, you did like the Funkos, didn't you? I
think the Funkos are a great idea, and they kind of nearly work really well. Yeah, it's cool.
Right, now we did mention earlier in the podcast that PulseCon was happening. That was October the 1st. So we recorded this podcast before that point. So jumping back on is me and Dan. Dan has got the information. Excited to see. We were expecting loads of stuff. We spoke about it earlier in this show. First of all, Dan, we spoke about HasLab, and there was rumours that there could be another HasLab project. Did we get one?
No. Oh,
I'm
it disappointing, wasn't it?
with that news. Really disappointed with it, because if it is only going to be one a year, which it has been to this point, that's nothing until next year again, and that is 2 fails back to back.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I really thought we were going to get something. I thought they were going to, Andor's, hot show right now. You got Bad Batch coming out. This other stuff, Mando's had a great, second season, and Boba Fett did, and there's a second season coming out early next year. I thought they would have gone with something, but yeah, not even a mention of it.
Was there any HasLab project?
No, they've got none open at the minute that I'm aware of.
Right. Real shame. So being PulseCon, it's going to really be being Hasbro. So we're only really here to look at Vintage Collection and Black Series. We were expecting quite a bit as well, because the announcements were Vintage Collection. We didn't cover anything, did we?
No.
With regards to Star Wars. So let's start with Vintage Collection. Did we get any announcements from that?
Yeah, so there was a few. So first of all, they started the event, and I was a bit confused for these by the summer. I don't know what you thought, but these exclusives, these SummerCon exclusives that are now PulseCon exclusives, I don't think it was particularly well set how they were doing this. So if you remember, I think it might have been the episode before last of Modern Way, we talked about the Black Series and or B2 Emo and the Vintage Collection Rescue set for the.
Right, yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
So they are actually PulseCon exclusives that you could pre-order at San Diego Comic-Con and Celebration, but didn't actually go on pre-order for the general public until the Saturday night after the actual event finished. So they're both out now. The Mandalorian Rescue set was initially up on their website for £95. They sent an email out Monday morning backtracking on that, so that's now $76.99. And with that, they've showed a bit more detail now. It's a new and improved Mandalorian and Moff Gideon, both with soft good capes and new paint apps. A Baby Yoda, Baby Grogu, the child with handcuffs, and a Dark Trooper that you can impale with Mando's spear. So it's got like a special head attachment. Now, I was under the impression these came carded. They don't. They're cable tied to the kind of cardboard backdrop that comes with it. But yeah, it seems a lot of money for what you're getting. Only one figure out of that lot's not been released before, and the rest of it just looks like a flimsy cardboard backdrop. And the other one was that Andor B2 Emo box set. That's up for £50.99, up for pre-order. Both of those still available now at the time of recording. Haven't sold out yet on Hasbro Pulse. So they were the first two items that were covered off, and then they got into the Vintage Collection. The new stuff. So we had a Cassian Andor figure. There was a Vel Sartha, and both of those come on the new Andor card backs. I don't know, what do you think of that new logo? You had a chance to look at that?
Yeah, I've not got a problem with the logo when it comes up on the screen, but I don't know, it doesn't just on the top of that card. I don't know.
So yeah, there's two Andor figures, yeah, and there was a Hunter Bad Batch figure. So I believe that's the first one of the Bad Batch we've seen on a vintage card back. I think there have been Bad Batch branded figures that have come out from Vintage Collection, but this is the first one of the kind of the main cast.
I didn't realise that, because they're all available in Black Series, aren't they?
Yeah. So they had last summer, they released a free pack with some clone troopers that had capes on. Do you remember those? Came in one of those like Spanish box sets, but that's the first figures released on a Bad Batch card that weren't a cash-in. It felt like. So we'll probably see some more of them with the second series of Bad Batch starting next year.
Do you like those figures? What's your thoughts on the Andor logo?
I think it's a bit more inventive than what they've done recently. If you look at what the fonts they use on the Mandalorian card backs, the Phantom Menace, it's all very much derivative of the Return of the Jedi logo. So it is nice to see him do something a little bit different with that Rebel symbol slap bang in the middle of the card. I did quite like it.
Are you going to go for these, being Rogue One? Are you enjoying Andor enough to...
I need to see some more of the show.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a slow burn, isn't it, this one? People are getting tied up in knots because it ain't very action-packed. But I'm enjoying it. It's just, it's kind of, starting to... it's a bit slow, isn't it? So yeah, see where it goes.
Okay.
But I really like that Cassian figure. I think when you look at the original one they did, even in whether it's Black Series or Vintage Collection, it's like a guy with a beard. But this one looks really cool. I mean, the costume they've got him, he's got a nice kind of flexible coat, so it looks good. It looks good, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Coattails on it, yeah, they're nice and flexible. So for posing, that looks quite cool. And then we had which I know you're excited about, the Cantina Band 7-figure set, £91.99 on Pulse.
Okay, yes. So I am excited by this because I have the last two shows, this show and the previous one, I've spoken about doing a a diorama of the Cantina, my favourite part of Star Wars. And to get 7 figures of the band in one pack seems a no-brainer. You just said £91.99. Now, in the news of this show, we spoke about Hasbro squeezing the life out of independents. Now, this set is available on in demand. It is an extra. It's $99.99, but I have supported them. I have gone via in demand because of the fact that Hasbro Pulse are able to put these things out slightly easier because they haven't got that extra cost to the thing. But I know you were talking about Pulse exclusives. The Rescue box set is also available on in demand. So I'm
not quite sure. It's because even back in the summer when it was revealed, I can't remember if it was the Andor set or the Rescue set, or maybe both of them. In demand revealed both of those worldwide, not just in the US. It was kind of like they were the ones that made the announcement. So I'm not quite sure what's going on over there. They must be well in with Hasbro, I think.
But £100 for, I mean, you're talking 16 quid for a vintage collection. So I'm looking at it as there's 7 figures in there. I do love them, but it is a big hit to drop on 7 of basically the same figure. Yeah, needs must and all that.
I think it's a cool set. I really, out of everything there, I know we're going to talk about some more stuff in a minute, but I think that's probably the nicest set that they actually showed of anything. Nicest figures they showed of anything. I thought they were really cool and they will look good on display.
The box art's quite nice as well. They're all jamming on their instruments, aren't they? In that kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that though, 90. If you say £100, when you look at what they're doing with that other set, the Rescue set, you're getting 4 figures, but do you count Grogu as a figure or is he an accessory? So you're technically getting 3 figures, and I've watched some unboxings of this thing, and if you thought the Tantive 4 kind of play set was bad, you want to take a look at this. I would, bearing in mind that Tantive box set was what, 50 quid. This is 76, and it's one of these. It's kind of like a nice display box. I think it opens out, and you haven't got to take the figures out. They're already posed within the environment, but seems very steep to me.
That one's $89.99 on in demand. So
right, okay.
Although I've supported them with that is an extra 13-14 quid on there. And you're right, for 3 Grogu, I mean, it's tiny, isn't it? So can you figure? I don't think so. So that does seem steep for 3 figures.
Yeah, not good. And the ones we've just spoken about, they're up. They're all at the new price as well. They're one of the single figures of $16.99. So yeah, full price figures there. And then on to some pipeline reveals. So they revealed quite a lot that's coming down the pipe. So there's going to be a new Darth Vader for Return of the Jedi 40th. So it's going to be an all new version of Darth Vader. And then we're getting some reissues. So we're getting a bunch of Jabba's minions. So we're getting a Weequay, a Woof, Yakface, Nikto, and Kithalba. And excitingly, this was, I think this one probably raised the most eyebrows, an Endor bunker playset. Now they only showed a screenshot of the bunker from the movie itself, so no one's got any ideas what it actually incorporates at the minute. But I think it's got a lot of people thinking that could all end in tears, or it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, look forward to reviewing that down the line.
They also revealed a Tusken Warrior from the Book of Boba Fett. So this was the female Tusken. I know that looks good, doesn't it? Well, it could be good. We only saw a photograph of the character in the show, so yeah. I think, and that's one that I know Mark Daniels was quite getting excited about. So expecting him to buy a few of those.
Yeah, I think that's quite a nice choice.
Then there was a Hauser, one of the clone troopers from the Clone Wars. And then there was some Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars 20 anniversary figures announced, although there was no screenshots or anything like that. They just showed a clone trooper helmet with 20 behind it. So yeah, a year late, but they're coming.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, since Fett, we've had Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we've had we're now on Andor. It doesn't seem relevant. I mean, have you watched Fett since we finished it?
No.
So yeah, do you know what I mean? That excitement for that character was at that point, so it is a bit weird one. But anything exciting you in that list? I mean, I think we've even said it in this show. Another Vader figure. I know they're saying all new. I mean, how much different can you make Darth Vader look?
Well, I think they've shown the screenshot they've shown is Vader with his helmet off with Luke at the end. So it could be one with a removable helmet. Maybe they haven't done before in Vintage Collection. I know they've done Vader's before when the helmet comes off, but yeah, I think they specifically showed that shot. But if you look at the latest Vader they did in Vintage Collection, that Dark Times Vader from the Obi-Wan series, they've obviously got the game on now with Vader, because that figure's awesome. So let's see what comes. I'm sure someone will buy it.
Nice. Right, so a little bit coming. I mean, it's not a lot of that's pipeline reveals. There's not actually much there that you've said this is here,
No.
is there? Really?
No, so it's free figures. Well, even then they're all up for pre-order, right? So nothing's actually been released. But yeah, there's 3 figures announced, single figures and the figure in Dan pack.
Right then. Okay. So did the Black Series, did it get better or was it worse than that?
Well, I'll let you decide. So they revealed 4 figures from Andor. So there was obviously the Cassian Andor, which is the repack of the previously revealed PulseCon 2-pack. A Mon Mothma.
Nice.
Which I know Craig's very excited about.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was being facetious, I can't decide. A Blix Colleen, who is the female character who was working in the junk shop in the first couple of episodes of Andor. And Luthien, the guy that gets him off the planet at the end of the 3rd episode. So yeah, those 4 from Andor all announced, brand new figures, and an Axe Woves for some reason they chucked him in as well. So that's a new figure. That one's actually sold out on Pulse now. I don't think it's exclusive to Pulse, but I was just flicking through there, and that one's the only one of all the new stuff that's been announced that's actually sold out, and they're all up for $25.99.
Which is interesting actually. So they're available and in demand. I've got them open now. $23.99.
Okay.
So for your pre-orders over there. So
I've definitely found that because I had the Pulse Premier membership or whatever they describe it, even when I was looking at the independents like your in demand and your Star Action figures and all the cool stuff, it was always cheaper to buy individual figures from them than it would be through Pulse. They were always a little bit more expensive at Pulse. I think if you were buying in bulk, then probably cheaper to go through Pulse, but I don't know what they're doing over there. It's crazy. So they were all of the kind of the new figures that were announced. So there were a bunch of Return of the Jedi repacks that have been well, we knew they were coming, but they've shown some pictures of them now of the actual figures. They were all existing figures that have been repacked onto cards for the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary, and those are up for pre-order. So we got an Admiral Akbar, we got Scout Trooper, Leia Endor, Han Endor, a Lando Skiff card, and the brand new one out of that lot is a Wicket. They've actually made a Wicket figure now in Black Series. So they're all up for pre-order now, and there's more of them to come. I can't remember the other ones. We went through the list last month we went through those that were coming out?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some more to come. Interestingly, this morning it was announced that at the MCM Comic Con at the end of this month, Hasbro are going to be in attendance, and they have got an exclusive for that event, and one of them is this Akbar on a card. Now, I don't know what makes it exclusive to the event, whether it's going to have a sticker on it, whether it's going to come on a different card back. They haven't shown any screenshots, but there's going to be an exclusive version of that that's only available at the show. They've definitely said it's on a Return of the Jedi card, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see what actually turns out to be. They've limited that to 1 per customer, so yeah, you better get yourself down to XL in a couple of weeks' time if you want to get that, or get scalped on eBay. Probably just a sticker. We'll get excited and they just whack a sticker saying MCM exclusive or something on the front of it.
Was that it for Black Series?
That was it in terms of toys. In terms of, there were some pipeline reveals we'll come on to. There was a couple of other items though. They've announced, and again, they never showed any screenshots for this, but a Luke Skywalker Force FX lightsaber, so his green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi, and also a Clone Trooper helmet.
I might be in for that one.
Yeah, so Black Series Clone Trooper helmet. Very exciting. So the pipeline reveals, so there was kind of 2 sets of announcements in that. One was some pipeline reveals for the Return of the Jedi 40th line. So they've announced a new Luke Skywalker, and that's not a re-release of the previous versions they've done. So it's an all new Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. A Darth Vader, so a newly improved version. So yeah, I think they haven't given any specifics about what the improved means, because I haven't said an all new version, but it's improved in previous versions of the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. And the biggest one that people got excited about was R2-D2. So do you know, obviously the first wave of Black Series back in whenever it was 2013, I think it was 2014 maybe. Do you know what was wrong with that R2-D2? It was too small, so it wasn't scaled to 6-inch scale. Right. It was far too small, and it was one of the biggest criticisms of the line when it came out. So the big question now is, and Hasbro didn't say one way or the other on this, whether this new sculpt of R2 is going to be more to scale with 6-inch, or whether it's going to be the same scale to match up with the rest of the astromechs they've released in the line over the years. Right. So that's the one that's got the biggest question marks hanging over it. And perturbed me a little bit, this one, Imperial Guard. I'd sworn blind they'd done an Imperial Guard in Black Series already, but
is that the Royal Guard?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm guessing this is Imperial Guard.
There's definitely a 6-inch. I'm sure there is.
So maybe it's just the fact they're putting it on a Return of the Jedi card. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's a good one to have on a card, though. I think out of all the ones they could have done, I think that's probably one that's probably worth doing, especially for people that troop build. And then the pipeline, some more Book of Boba Fett figures. So you've got a Pike Trooper, Cad Bane, and a Tusken Chieftain.
Okay, interesting. Is Cad Bane just a repack of what we've already got in the 2-pack that came with
I'm
Todo?
guessing so. Probably painted a bit. I think his clothes are a bit darker in Book of Boba Fett, and he's less brown and more black. So yeah, repaint. I reckon that's got repaint written all over it.
The Pike Trooper's quite interesting. Have one of those out. We haven't seen a figure of that yet, have we?
Not in Black Series, I don't think. I think we might have seen them in maybe Clone Wars lines back in the day, possibly.
Yeah, the Tusken. Wow, it's a little bit. Can I put it? There's a couple of fun things in there, but it is a little bit underwhelming, isn't it?
I think because they're spreading themselves too thin with all these bloody announcements, and they go in Celebration. They do a panel. They did San Diego Comic-Con, started throwing out Halloween figures, and now they're doing this. So we, in essence, if you cut out all the they revealed more in the pipeline than anything else. But if you take all the pipeline stuff away, you've got four Black Series figures that are brand new and 2 vintage collection figures that are brand new. Everything else is derivative of something else. Oh, maybe the Wicket. Let's count the Wicket as well because he's new, right? We haven't had Wicket before.
The pipeline reveals feel to me like we haven't got enough to announce. So what else are we working on just to appease people? That's what I read them as, because surely you'd keep them back as in the exciting, your next, this is coming now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The one other thing they did show, which I know you love, is this selfie series. So all of the hosts that were on the panel, each had a figure that had been made to look like them, and they showed off one of them was an X-wing pilot. You can get a stormtrooper, you could get a Mandalorian. So yeah, they're starting to push that a bit now.
What did they look like? What were the face sculpt was good?
I don't know. Maybe if you'd have put all the if you had the 4 hosts in front of you, you put the 4 figures in front of them and mixed them all up and said which one goes with which host, you'd know who was who.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's $80 to get one of those, and I think we was talking to Dave Tree about him. I think he was on that episode. And we was talking to Dave, and Dave was, it'd be really good for like Father's Day and stuff like that. But I don't think my son would go and spend anything to go and even look on Hasbro Pulse, let alone buy me a selfie figure. It's kind of a collector's thing, isn't it? Hasbro Pulse. So I don't know if they're going to get unless I hinted to my wife, I'd love it if you went and got one of these figures made for me. I don't see anyone going out and buying these in huge numbers, unless you're both Star Wars fans. Maybe you'd be feeling generous at Christmas, Stu, and you might get one done of me.
If I get all of you one, it will be of me. They might give me a discount if they're doing 4 or 5 of the same head.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing them in the UK though at the minute, because everything I'm seeing online just says the price in dollars, and I've searched their website and nothing's coming up with anything to say they're going to do it in the UK. So we'll have to watch this space.
We might have that as a monthly prize on Generation Skywalker. Win a Black Series figure of Stuart. Crikey, we'd have so much paperwork to do. So many people would enter. That would be a nightmare. Yeah. Well, interesting pile of stuff. No doubt we'll have more of it probably from next month to see what these things look like.
We will indeed. I mean, interestingly, when the release dates on these, I think some of the independents now have given up on Hasbro's release dates. So a lot of the stuff being dated for spring next year. 2 weeks later, it's landing. So they're all over the shop at the minute. So God knows when these are coming out. Just keep an eye on the websites and on your inboxes, but just careful how much you pre-order, because your credit card might take a spanking in a couple of weeks' time.
Fire up your fandoms, because Hasbro Pulse Con is back. That's right, this is the event you've been waiting for. 2 whole days, all just for you, the fans. Featuring all your favorite brands, lots of special guests, amazing reveals, epic products, and so much more. Join me, Cleo, and me, DJ Amen. It's going down at Hasbro Pulse Con 2022. It's gonna be. Set your calendars to ready, because you won't want to miss it. Woo! Hasbro Pulse Con, baby!
Okay, now we have just touched on some beautiful holiday figures and we're getting all Christmassy, but I thought it was time for advent calendars. Now, it is that time of year again. I would start to think about buying these. Some of these advent calendars are a bit pricey, actually. They're not like your chocolate 99p one from, what's the Kinnerton, isn't it? Kinnerton chocolate. God, that stuff's horrible.
The worst stuff.
Yeah, but advent calendars are great fun, and they're a great countdown to Christmas and a massive part for children. So first of all, advent calendars when we were kids. I mean, they have got elaborate calendars. What do you remember? When I was young, it was just
get pictures.
Pictures, yes, exactly. Yeah. A religious picture on the outset, you'd open it up and it'd be a holly wreath or a piece of mistletoe.
And you know what? It was exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it was a thrill to be one day close to Christmas and have a robin. And it was always a double window.
With Father Christmas.
Yeah, we're heading towards the double window. And it was always a nativity scene on the 25th.
Yeah. So exactly. And I can remember chocolate advent calendars coming about probably when I was about 8, 9, 10. But I didn't have them. My parents didn't buy me that. We still had pictures. It was still that. So it wasn't until we were older. Now, do you still have an advent calendar as an adult, first of all? Okay, I mean for you, not for children. Do you buy one for yourself?
Occasionally I'll get a liqueur chocolates one. They do a nice liqueur chocolates one. So you get a nice little liqueur chocolate in a nice little bottle shape. I forget the name of the brand now every day. I had one of those a couple of years ago.
Okay, so you get a nice liqueur chocolate one. Craig, do you still get yourself an advent calendar?
Kimberly always gets about 3 beer ones sent to her, but I don't personally go out and buy an advent calendar for myself.
No, so I have, my lad has had the Lego ones the last few years. Last year was the first year I'd bought an advent calendar for myself in years. I didn't buy it for myself. My wife bought it for me. She bought me a Playmobil Back to the Future one. And the figures in it are brilliant, okay? Playmobil Back to the Future. I would love to see a Playmobil Star Wars range. But it irritated the hell out of me because you built up the town square with it. And it was made of cardboard. And then you'd put the little props on it. But the pole for the wire that goes on the clock tower was too heavy for the cardboard. And it used to pee me off every day. It used to come home and it all collapsed. So I spent the build up to Christmas last year being irritated by Playmobil Advent Calendar.
Not good. Not what you bought it for.
No, exactly. But they do have some good ones. I'm sure, Dan, you must buy Harrison an advent calendar.
We've had the Lego one probably for the last at least the 8-9 years we've been doing it, if not longer. I've always bought him one.
Yeah, okay.
We must have a drawer full of all the little toys, and some of those minifigures like the Santa Claus ones that never produced it. I'm guessing they're worth a few quid now as well.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're nice sets. My lad always has the Lego one, and he does it until about day 7, and then doesn't open any more doors. He'll eat the chocolate one and whatnot, and then in February he'll decide just to open it all. And sometimes they don't get opened. So it's.
See, you should be telling him open the next one.
He's a bit like, I'll do that in a minute.
You got to tell him, mate. You got to tell him.
Well, so I came across 4 different Star Wars advent calendars. So we do include the Lego here, but they're not cheap. They are pricey. So let's just take through them, just give them all a bit of love, because I thought I could make an argument for buying all 4 of these advent calendars. I think they're all good fun. So Craig, I'm going to come to you first, because Funko have produced a Star Wars advent calendar.
They have, and it looks really nice.
Yes.
So it's a nicely designed box with all the numbers and the windows. You've got little rebel symbols and imperial symbols, and it's all quite Star Warsy. It's got 24 little mini pops. I know there's probably a proper term for these. Probably not called mini pops. They're probably called something else. I'll read you the blurb. "'Tis the season to be Jedi or Sith, should you choose. Whether you're feeling naughty or nice, the Star Wars Funko Advent Calendar will help you count down the holiday season. Open the tiny doors to reveal 24 unique Funko Pocket Pops." There you go, they're Pocket Pops, featuring some beloved Star Wars characters dressed in their winter best. Each collectible brings a festive twist to their typical look, making these galactic heroes and villains a fine addition to your holiday decor. Who will join your celebrations? What's quite nice about this, compared to things like the Lego Advent Calendar, which tends to sort of show its knickers up front. You can, I guess, in the bid to sell it, they're showing you everything you get. Whereas this is only showing you a little teaser of 4 characters. So you've got a Vader, in a red outfit with a stripy red and white, got a candy cane, scarf, green lenses. You've got a Luke in similar attire, holding a candy cane. You've got a lovely Leia, who's kind of wearing this sort of snowflakey dressing gown, and then you've got a mini version of the snowman style Funko Pops with the Stormtrooper there. So, but you don't know what the other 20 are, which I think's really cool. And for $50, I think that's quite good value given what these things sell for. I would have expected it to be more.
Yeah, definitely. Enjoying it. Okay then. So Dan, what is this year's Lego one?
There's not really a theme to it. It's just snow and Christmas themed figures with some ships thrown in. So I'm just looking through now. There's some nice bits in this one, Jez. So you've got a Luke Hoth for obviously one of the prizes, but then another day you get like a little white frame that's meant to be like the inside of the Wampa Cave that you can hang Luke upside down from, which I thought was a nice touch. And there's a snow trooper in there. There's battle droids. There's a B-wing. There's one that looks like it's meant to be a sandcastle, and it's Scarif base with a little bucket next to it. I don't know if you guys are looking at any of these pictures. I think that's a bit. I don't think you've ever seen that in Lego before. There's a Darth Vader with looks like some sort of Hawaiian jumper on with a pair of flippers, which is a bit bizarre. A Christmas themed Gonk droid, an R2D2 with a C-3PO Christmas jumper on. There's a moisture evaporator. It's one of the Lego voiced moisture evaporator, and another one, a C-3PO. Looks like he's got an R2D2 Christmas jumper on. So yeah, just some nice little prizes in there. Have fun going through December putting those together.
Yeah, always a bit of fun.
I've got a couple of friends who are, they like Star Wars, but they're probably not like, the level of fans that we possibly are. Without fail, every year, sometime in the middle of December, he will send me a picture and go, "The hell is this?"
Well, have you got the pictures of them in front of you? Because there's one already that I'm thinking, what the hell is that? Have you got it? In the top left-hand corner, there's an ATST, and underneath that is like a grey block with a hole in the middle of it.
Yeah.
What's that?
No clue. I shall look forward to receiving that image of that.
Any ideas, Stu? Can you see that one?
Yeah, I've got it open. No idea.
Is it meant to be like a blaster or something? It's the only thing I can think it is something in an Imperial base.
It looks like some sort of kind of dispenser on the right, doesn't it? Like a...
Yeah, because it's got little loose studs that look like it goes into that trough.
Yeah, I think the rest of it I can figure out. Yeah, it's just that one. I think I think the other one that's a bit random that I've never seen in Lego form before is that they got a T-16 Skyhopper in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it?
And then the Bad Batch first appearance, they've got their shuttle. That's their first appearance in a Lego Advent calendar. It normally takes a couple of years for some of these characters to filter through. It took Mandalorian 2.5 years.
Okay. What's the red droid at the bottom? Like a Gonk droid, but
I just think it's a Gonk droid. He's painted like Father Christmas. He's got a beard, hasn't he? A little white beard.
Oh, and a little bobble hat. Yeah, I can see it now. Genius. The single best Star Wars Christmas thing we've had on the show tonight.
Okay then, so Dan, moving on then. A Baby Yoda child's stationary advent calendar. My daughter would love this. She loves doing drawings. There's some great bits in this. Describe this to us.
So this is from Amazon. It's $17.99.
Great price.
There's no pictures of the doors kind of opening it. Oh yeah, there is. I take that back. So yeah, there are doors on it, and then there's lots of little crafty pieces within that. So it looks like there's some of these snap bracelets you can slap on. There's some stamps, these little ink stamps with Mandalorian symbols on. There's pencils and pens, little notebooks. You got a kid who likes his crafts or her crafts? Yeah, I can definitely see them.
It's a nice little set. You've got stamps in there, haven't you, with the ink blot pad, and I think the highlighter little triangle thing's quite nice. Rulers are quite nice. I think that's quite a nice little set if your child is into that.
If I was a kid, I'd prefer this much more than a little piece of chocolate every day. Once you break some of this out, you'd use it for ages, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Even if you sling it in a drawer, it's there, isn't it? You eat the chocolate. You get the amount of chocolate you get in there. If you melted it all down, it's probably about 1 bar of chocolate that you're paying. I don't know, however much an advent calendar costs, £5 or £6.
Yeah, I just think this is a nice set and stuff that is going to last, and it's nicely done. It's a bit different.
Good price at £17 as well. I think that's a fair price.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair price when you see the price of the other ones that we've been covering. And the final one then. So this one was quite good fun. Craig, coming to you with this, because I didn't realise this existed until I was Googling advent calendars. But what a fantastic advent calendar.
This is ace. I love this. This is the Revel 01044, catchy, Star Wars advent calendar. And what it is, it's a big cube, and it contains 3 kits. We've got Vader's TIE Fighter, we've got an X-Wing, and we've got the Falcon. But it also contains sticker sheets, building instructions. You've got 11 paints, paintbrush, side cutters, a sanding stick, model making knife, tweezers. So it's got everything you need to build these kits, plus the kits. Now, presumably, it comes in some sort of order that allows you to build one first, and then the next, rather than having to wait all 24, 25 days. But what a wonderful little thing. It's just, it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. And I quite like that idea of just that delayed gratification of, receiving the wings one day and having to wait till the weekend to get the canopy. It just appeals to me.
Are you any good at that sort of stuff, either of you? Because whenever I tried to build model kits back in the 90s, I was going to model shops because there was nothing else Star Wars out there, and I was buying Revel model kits and whatever else was the Ertl stuff, and I always just ended up putting them together fine, and then when it came to painting them, I just ended up wrecking them and then getting peeved off and throwing them in the bin.
I never, I never excelled at it, but these are, you'd be all right with these, Dan, because they snap together. They're already pre-painted. You can the additional paints and stickers are optional. You don't have to go that route. I mean, I think it's Dave Reeder on. He's been buying these cheap Revel kits and building them, putting them on Instagram. It's really got me kind of wanting to build a vintage R2D2, the one with the chromed dome.
Yeah.
I just and a couple of years ago, you could pick those up for not a lot of money, but they've obviously, like everything, quite expensive now to whether you kind of can justify spending it and opening it and cracking things off sprues. But this is kind of a little entry level model thing for me to kind of maybe get into when I've finished my Lego Death Star.
I purposely put your name next to this one, Craig, because I looked at the advent calendars and I thought there's 4 of us on this podcast and there's 4 advent calendars here. And wouldn't it be great that each day there's a little mini video of each of us opening the door of our advent calendar? And I think the Revel advent calendar is right up your street. It's
very appealing.
I think there'd be a real fun. I mean, I know you get excited about Christmas and you can't wait. This would really, really make your December enjoy that countdown.
I'll take that challenge.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's a lovely little set.
Cool.
I'm just looking at some of the other pictures with them on the sprues and stuff. It's nice. It's a good, fun set. Genius idea. And Dan, I've got you down for Lego because I'm sure you're buying it.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that. I was going to say the Funko because Harrison has the Lego, but I'll live vicariously through him. Leave Jez the craft set with the Grogu bits and pieces.
Yeah, because it'll probably take him ages. The video will be fun anyway because it'll probably him trying to work out how to take the pen lid off. I really fancy the Funkos. I think they're all in their little Christmas jumpers, and me talking about Christmas display, I think it just fits in with my.
You've got an instant Christmas display with that, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing piece. I know it's the most expensive of them all, but yeah, I thought all 4 of them were nice advent calendars. And okay, the cheapest one's £18, most expensive one's the Funko at £50. I think that the Revel kit at £40, 3 kits. I think that's a nice piece of nice item. Yeah, look forward.
So have you bought? Is that one of your other items? Have we figured the two? We figured out what they both are yet?
Funko, yeah. I was quite tempted to order this, but then I thought that I won't get around to doing it. So it was it made more sense for Craig. But I did think even the box I thought was quite nice. The black box, and yeah, I think it would be a fun December for you.
None of those floated your boat. I found some more.
Did you? Got Star Wars ones?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I've just put some links in the chat.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Let's see what he's come up with.
4. There's 4.
Okay. I like this.
So which one have you opened first?
I've opened up the musical one.
So yeah, this is
liking the picture.
This is a little bit more kind of nostalgic for us who've got paper ones. It's a sort of pop up, but it's musical.
Oh, I do like that. Yeah. Can you have more than one a year?
So what? So you open the door and press the button on the back and it plays some Star Wars music, I'm guessing.
Right, let me try and get this up online. I've got so many windows.
Star Wars theme tune, and 3 of the legendary characters, Yoda, 3PO, and R2D2, move around every time the tune is played.
And it's got a vintage feel, hasn't it? That.
Yeah, the artwork of the characters.
Yeah,
I think some of that artwork's from the early 90s. I think I've seen that on advent calendars.
Yeah, that Yoda
is. And the Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan, yeah.
$24.99 from calendarclub.co.uk. Only delivered in the UK, so I don't know if that's a UK exclusive thing. But it's quite cool. Quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, like that. Let's. I'm excited to
open up. Let's see the boots one.
Right, yeah, boots next.
So the boots one. So we've all had this in our lifetime, surely. We've all had Star Wars socks.
Oh wow, look at that. Do you get the left foot one day and the right foot the next?
Yeah, you get 12 pairs. So this is boots, who are always good for those crafty, gifty, Christmassy things. And it's a sock, a Star Wars sock advent calendar.
So it's only 12 days though.
Exactly. Can you imagine getting to day 12 and you're like, oh my God, I've still got another 12 days till Christmas.
I presume
you start on the 12th of December.
Yeah, because that is the case with a couple of these, which I find quite strange. But I guess it's just price. I guess they just can't justify double the price for double the socks.
So when I said put one sock in, it's not actually a bad idea if there's 12 pairs.
That's what I mean. They could have done that. Couldn't it? It'd be really annoying that the sock that you open on the first day is the second you only get the other one.
Yeah,
the
you
last
don't get
day.
it till the 18th. Yeah,
going around with one odd socks on for all of December. 12 pairs of socks for what's that? £2 a pair? Just about £3 a pair, something like that, isn't it? Not too bad. Just under £3 a pair. What's with the green one? Is that meant to be a lightsaber? The bottom right, the last one. What's that meant to be?
Oh, Craig, the next one I've opened up, but it's sold out.
Yeah, a beer advent calendar from the original Stormtrooper beer. Again, bizarrely, it's a 12-day one. Maybe that's a new thing. Maybe I just didn't get the memo. The Star Wars beer advent calendar, which comes with
snacks and beers.
What does it come with? Beers. Is there some glassware in there as well?
There is a hearty Stormtrooper themed glass.
There you go. But it's lovely packaging. I mean, we've talked about this stuff before. Nice box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 beers. A glass, some snacks, some beer mats. Yeah, I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, like that.
And then the final one I've got is a little bit more in keeping with the stationery. So we've got a Star Wars Mandalorian 12-day advent calendar, which features little Grogu, and you're getting stuff in there like bath and body products. There's a body scrub, and there's some emery boards and some bath salts, some hand creams, and all that kind of stuff. But it's all kind of done with a cute little cartoony Baby Yoda. 20 quid. And this one we're looking at is at lostuniverse.com.
Yeah, nice price. And a bright green, what are they called? Pom-pom washy sponge thing.
Yes, that's exactly what they're called.
Well, do you know what, Craig? You've done brilliantly going and finding some other advent calendars. I can't wait to see what Dan's found. My pick of that, though, I do like that music one. I think that would look quite nice on my massive Christmas display.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, lots of advent calendars. Perhaps if Jez doesn't want the stationery, he could choose one of those. He could get some socks.
I think we should give him the 12 days of bath and body.
He deserves it after the Berlin Marathon.
Yeah.
Some bath
a nice soak with baby Grogu and nice little scrubbing brush.
Yes, well, some great advent calendars there for people to start. You know, it is October now, and people are going to start to be thinking about these things. So go and get yourself involved.
Oh, you're getting me thinking about Christmas now. It's not even October.
It's October Saturday, Dan.
Yeah, but it's not October now.
Yeah, but this podcast will be out in October. That's why I spoke as if it was October. So just like that.
This holiday is yours, but we all share with you the hope that this day brings us closer to freedom and to harmony and to peace. No matter how different we appear, we're all the same in our struggle against the powers of evil and darkness. I hope that this day will always be a day of joy in which we can reconfirm our dedication and our courage, and more than anything else, our love for one another. This is the promise of the Tree of Life.
Right then, boys. So it's been a fun show. We've covered quite a lot of ground there tonight. If there was one thing from that list of stuff that you could buy, we're all going to say the Tuscan bust. How about something that's actually feasible?
The magnet.
The magnet. Yeah, magnet was very nice. Craig?
Why do I always forget that you're going to ask this question every time? I spend like a frantic minute scrolling through going, what was it? What was there?
Well, the one time that I thought of that, I'm going to go with the bust. He says you can't have the bust.
So yeah, I like the bust. The Revel advent calendar, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Basically, mine's just all the Christmas stuff. I think there's some really lovely Christmas items there, and. But
you've pre-ordered all of that, so it don't count. You've got to pick something you haven't pre-ordered.
Right. Okay, yeah, you're right. I am going to say the bust.
It's a toss-up between the bust or Stretch Armstrong.
I would. Do you know what? I'm going to say Stretch Armstrong. I know that's probably one of the cheaper items we've covered, but I think that is something that will be fun just knocking around the garage for me to stretch out when you're all picking on me on a show.
Bless you.
So, if you want to carry on with Generation Skywalker, go see what else we are doing. Head over to, let's start on our website. Go to www.generationskywalker.com, where you will find links to everything, including some blog posts. You go to YouTube, find an enhanced version of this show and many other shows, unboxings. We unbox quite a lot of modern stuff, actually. That's probably the main thing we unbox. Plenty of stuff like that over there. Just search for Generation Skywalker. And we're on all forms of social media. We're at Instagram. There's 3 accounts there, including a modern one, which Dan runs. We're over on Twitter. We're on Facebook, and we are on TikTok. Just search for Generation Skywalker and get involved in any conversation. Of course, you can find all our podcasts at any podcast provider. We are across the board on all of them. Again, just look up Generation Skywalker. Dan, Craig, been fun. Always enjoy the modern shows because they're always laid back. They're always fun to look at new product. We always end up buying stuff that we don't really need or want, but that is the joy of the modern. But it is for this month. Goodbye from Craig.
Cheerio.
It's goodbye from Dan.
This is the way.
It is goodbye from me. We're Generation Skywalker. All eras, all passions, all Star Wars.